This is a complete new premium course of how I make $500,000 every single month with AI digital products. You can see that there are 12 parts to this. Literally took me 3 weeks to build this entire thing. But before we go through anything, let me show you this dashboard. So this is Stripe. Past 4 weeks, we've done 515K sales through what I do, AI digital products. If we click on last 6 months, we'll see apply. Okay, 2.88 million. All right, and in the past 12 months, it should be something around like 5 or 6 million. Yeah, so 5.31 million. We've had a few days where we have crossed the 100K sales threshold, but you can see it's pretty uniform. Within the past 12 months, we have been doing a lot of sales. Let me show you guys the monthly, how much we've been doing each month. Okay, so as you can see, we just started August, so it's lower than the other months, but usually we have been doing 400, 500, sometimes 700K months. So this is just to show you very transparently before we dive into anything else. Once again, this is a full course, everything you need to know about how my business works. By the end of this, you're going to know every single piece of knowledge and wisdom that I have that I put into this business so that you can literally copy the exact same. Since this video is going to be pretty long, here are the timestamps in the description and also in the comment section. So you can go there, click on whatever timestamp you want to skip to, and hopefully that makes it easier for you to watch this video. Anyways, let me give you a brief introduction and summary of what each of these sections contain. The first part is my story. I'll be giving a little introduction just for those of you guys who may not know me. Step 2, I have so many case studies. I have helped many people and I've grown many accounts, dozens and dozens of accounts, to 20K or 30K, 50K, 100K sales per month. So these are all accounts and all the people that I've helped. Actually, no, not all of them. That was a lie. I have only included probably like a third of all the accounts and people. The rest I have not shown and I'm not able to show. But yeah, bear with me. These are just case studies that I have. Okay. Step 3 is the software tool that I used. Basically, this AI automation that is very critical and necessary for the business that I do. Step 4 is a step-by-step game plan for you. A 3-month game plan of exactly what you should be doing so that exactly how many views you should be getting, what kind of posts to make, how much sales you should be getting, and all that sort of stuff. How to pick your product. I will be going over everything here. Step 5 will be how to get views. So a lot of you guys have been making posts on Twitter, but they don't get any views. So this section will be explaining how to get views on your post, how to get 10K, how to get 100K, how to get a million views on your posts, because that is the most important thing. If you don't have any views, you're not going to be able to get any sales. Step 6, I'll be going over my retweet circle, which is basically a group of approximately 70 or 80 people with some of the largest accounts on X. So if you join it, we will boost and retweet for you, giving you a massive advantage, and you can start going viral from day one. Section 7 is basically how to grow your network through X. I've built hundreds of millionaire entrepreneur friends off of Twitter, so I'll be explaining how all that works. Section 8 is an example of a funnel, stats that you can expect, explaining the systems, the funnels, the stats, and all that sort of stuff. Step 9 is how to get sponsorships from big companies. The main 2 ways that you're going to make money off of X is by selling some kind of digital products and service, or you're going to get sponsorships and they're going to pay you quite a lot. All right, so I'll be explaining how to do that in this section. Step 10 is very important. How to get sales, which is basically how to convince people to buy. These aren't necessarily sales calls, but even just copywriting, even just your landing page, just the entire process of convincing them to buy is sales. And this is very important to know. There's a lot of psychology in this. Section 11 explains my lead magnet, my Typeform, basically more of my funnel. Of course, these are optional, but once you start going high level, doing high ticket, this becomes very necessary. For example, if you're selling something for $3,000 and you want to start getting 20 of those sales every month, which is 60K, then this becomes very important and necessary. The final section, I'll be going over the opportunity that I'm giving out. Basically, the main goal for this video is really just to help educate and give away my knowledge, because a lot of you guys are struggling trying to figure out how to make money online. You're confused. You've tried watching so many YouTube videos out there. You've tried them. Nothing's working. So this is real technical advice. This isn't just like for beginners, but this is like real business. I'm not going to have like really fancy editing like other people have. This is a raw, real, authentic video, the real techniques of how this business works. Now let me explain who this video is for. So really it's to anyone who's interested in understanding how to grow on X, how to get lots of views and lots of sales. I have a lot of leads and clients who have already done 9-figure exits, $500 million, $700 million, that come to me for advice, how to grow their personal brands on X. I also have a lot of beginners come to me. So it's for anyone who wants to understand how the X algorithm works, how to get 5 or 10 million views every single month, and how to make sales, whether you want to get to your first 10K per month or 50K or 100K or 200K per month. This is for you. And I'll be completely honest, the harsh truth is that 99% of you guys will not watch the entire video because you just don't have the attention span. Although I'm giving you this entire thing for free, which I literally used to charge $1,500 for this, and I'm giving it to you guys for free now. To watch this entire video, bookmark it, add it to your calendar if you can't watch it in one sitting. Just make sure that you plan in advance so that you can get through the entire thing from start to finish. Here's section 1. So this is basically my story in case you guys don't know who I am. I showed you guys a dashboard earlier. This is a little outdated, so ignore that. But these are some notifications that you can be seeing within a few months from now. Look at this. Thousands of dollars, 25K, 32K, even 80K here. But obviously it has not always been like that. Right now I'm 23. I move back and forth between Japan and California every single month. Between the ages of 18 and 20, I was in LA. I was a broke student. I couldn't afford anything. I rarely had more than $100 in my bank account. And the reason is obviously I had no job. The only money that I was earning was I was tutoring my sister every single day for 30 minutes, teaching her computer science. So every single day I was receiving around $20, which is approximately $600 per month, which is very little for LA. Even just taking Uber to somewhere close by or near would cost like $30 or $40. So you can imagine how quickly that fades, especially when I need to buy food. That time, very memorable time, I almost died in a car crash. It was basically I was skateboarding and I got hit by a car. My legs got fractured, actually just one leg. The bones snapped in half and I was taken to the hospital multiple times. There's me in bed. I was taking opioids because of the pain relief. They had me take these because the pain was just so bad. I had to get surgery multiple times. At that time, I was relying on others to take care of me, my roommates, my friends, to get me food, to feed me for more than 3 months straight. I felt pathetic. I couldn't do anything. This was a time I was at a pretty low point. Early on, I was a straight A student. I had a 4.0 and I realized that if I get a PhD in like CS and I can get like a high paying data science job, like 200K. But then within a year or two in, I start to notice that even those people who were getting those jobs were broke. They didn't have any freedom in their job. Their boss controlled their entire life. They had no freedom, no location freedom, no time freedom. They couldn't decide what to do. They couldn't decide if they could be with their family or not. Basically, I realized that it was slavery. And even those who were 10 times smarter and 10 times harder working than me were going down that trap, that life of slavery. I realized that if people who were smarter and more hardworking or end up becoming like that, then my life is screwed. So I realized that maybe this isn't the path that I want to go on. And that's why I started to do online business, to see if I could break free, to see if I could start earning for myself. Around the age of 20, I started going all in. I probably watched hundreds and hundreds of YouTube videos out there, how to make money online, dropshipping, SMMA, trading, crypto, stuff like that. I've watched so many things. I've tried and failed 8 to 10 different businesses. Obviously, I didn't have much to invest with, but I was still putting in so many hours trying everything. I would go through each YouTube video and I would put in all the steps from start to finish for at least a few weeks or a few months at a time, and nothing was working. During this time in college, I started taking a gap semester, basically putting in all my time to figure it out. And my goal was by the end of the semester that I would be making at least 10K per month. Within a few months in, I was putting in so much work and it felt impossible. It felt like trying to touch the clouds in the sky. I was very hopeless. And you can see that this is a prayer that I wrote a very long time ago. This was at the point where I've already put in months and months of work, working 12, 15 hours every single day, and I was seeing no progress. And it was such a dark moment in my life. You can read this for yourself, but this is the mentality and the thought process I had during that time. I was putting so many hours, so many failures, learning from so many things. But now that I look back, I realized that 99.99% of the stuff that I was doing, 12 hours a day, a lot of it was just ineffective. I was just doing things that weren't working. And only if I knew back then what I know today, then I would be able to build the business that I have today with probably like 1% of the time commitment that it took back then. Because obviously, like back then, I didn't know what I was doing. It's similar to like trying to fill up a bucket with water with holes at the very bottom. Obviously, it's not going to work. Trying to fill it up with probably like a chopstick, something that can't even hold any water, right? So that's like the analogy of doing things that obviously wouldn't work, even putting in 12 hours every single day. Versus if you have the right techniques, then it doesn't take that much. Part of my frustration nowadays is just that there's so many YouTube videos out there that just are not helpful at all. They're not genuine, they're not authentic, they're not real. So this is my revenge, is basically to create this YouTube video to show you guys exactly how this all works. Authentic, real, the full blueprint of how this all works. My first ever sale, which was $10 from Emma. Obviously, I've blurted out her last name, but this was October 24, I think 2023. Yeah, but I had my first ever sale after months and months of trial and error. First ever sale. This was basically like a software service that I was selling. It was basically a service where we would find the best matching jobs and process them on their behalf. This was Venmo. Obviously not the best payment processing platform, but I was so happy for 3 hours. I remember I was in the dining hall. I called all my friends and my family. You can imagine me just like staring at my phone, being happy, smiling for 3 hours, and other people at the dining hall probably like, what is this weirdo? Fast forward a few months later, in January, this was my first $2,000 day. So really, I just want to show you guys that once you get your first sale, it picks up very, very fast. It's similar to bamboo, right? They spend 3 to 5 years underground, but then as soon as you get your first sale, it grows insanely fast. That's around 35 inches per day, more than a yard or a meter every single day. That's how fast it grows. Once you get your first sale, basically getting your next 1,000, getting your next 10K is super quick. It's just that getting to your first sale is insanely slow. The first $10 sale, next day I get like $50, next day I get $100, next day I might get $80, next day I might get $180, and next day I get $200, and then fast forward, you make 2K in a day. Between this and this, I think it was approximately 3 months or so. Unfortunately, this business did not last, and the reason is because I was marketing on LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, it's very easy to get banned, especially because I had so many accounts that were running, getting millions of views. I got banned, flagged. So that's why I moved to Twitter. X is the best place. And the reason is because it's so hard to get banned. It's the most long-term, sustainable, secure social media platform to ever exist. You can literally post most horrific videos on Twitter and they don't get banned, right? Versus Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you could just say one wrong word and you can get banned forever. Twitter is not like that. It's very safe. It's very rare for you to get banned. So that's why I moved to Twitter. And that's why I started selling digital products there. LinkedIn and X, they work the exact same because really you just type a few words and you post it, maybe attach an image or a video, and it gets views, right? It's the exact same thing, except LinkedIn is, of course, a bit more professional. It's easier to get banned, but really that's the only difference between those two. Really, as long as you know how to get views, how to blow up, go viral, get millions of views, you can really sell anything, whether that's software, digital products, ebooks, basically all the same thing. I would start all over again, creating one Twitter account. I get up to 10K per month, 30K per month, 50K per month, and then I would create 2 more Twitter accounts, do the same exact thing, repeat, cycle, and that's how basically it started growing, scaling horizontally, vertically. And these are some, cool cars that I have gotten. This is a period of time where I'm very immature and I'm spending so much. And this is a weird point in life where you're very happy because you're doing better than ever before. But I remember there's a time where I was driving back home in one of these cars and I just felt empty because I realized that, is this it? I realized that nothing really much else in my life has changed. I still have a very amazing family and friends. There's this deep craving in your soul that hasn't been fulfilled. So that's why I began searching for a new purpose. Before, my purpose was like, I want to survive. I want to make money online. I want to escape the system and gain freedom for myself. And once I achieved that, then I realized that this purpose has been fulfilled. Now what? You kind of end up in a weird situation. You feel empty. So that's why it was important for me to come up with a new purpose, like a new goal, which was to create an empire by helping a lot of partners to succeed. This is something that I'm most proud of, not like the cars or materialistic stuff, but really just sharing this with other people. And the reason is because there's so many things that I cannot do myself. For example, I don't know anything about crypto. I don't know anything about sports betting, stuff like that. But if I can find someone who's an expert in that and I do the marketing for them, they do all the technical fulfillment, then working together, it's a win-win, because by themselves, they don't know how to get views or get any sales. But I know how to do the marketing and sales. So working together, it's very complementary. That's why I have grown so many accounts. Doing that strategy has allowed me to expand more accounts, build an empire. A lot of these are accounts that I have built or at least heavily contributed to. In each one of these accounts, I have a profit split in them. So this is section 2, case studies of accounts that are doing at least 50 to 100K per month in sales per account, by the way. Some of these accounts are very big. I have more than $15 million worth of case studies here. I don't know where to begin. I just have so many. I have a lot of faceless accounts without your face. I have some partners who do show you their face, but most of the accounts that I have, they're completely faceless and they work completely fine. There's almost no distinction between showing your face or not on Twitter. There's not much difference in sales. This is Michael, for example. He's doing more than $100,000 per month through his Twitter, and I've helped him grow his account. Basically, what he does is he sells AI systems to big companies. His business is B2B. There are a lot of companies out there that are very inefficient. And so basically what his AI does is he makes it more efficient. He makes it less time consuming, less energy consuming. That's a huge benefit for these companies. But the problem was that beforehand, his tweets were not getting that much engagement or views. This was before working with me. Of course, he wrote this tweet. This was not very successful when he created. We're both in LA, right? So he's like, come over to my house. So I pack my bag and I go over to his house. It's like 20 minutes away from where I live. I rewrite the tweet for him in approximately 5-15 minutes. Most of the time it takes less time, but this time I really wanted him to get a lot of sales and go viral. So I rewrite this post. It's the same post, more detailed, better format. I apply my techniques and it gets a decent amount of engagement here. It's not like a million views or anything like too crazy, but you can see 200 comments, 20K views. How it works for this post is that every single comment is a lead. And the reason is because every single comment receives an automated DM. This tweet that I made for him, it generated approximately $100,000, which might be hard to believe. As you can see right here, $100,000. I have made more posts that have gotten decent amount of views. Before, he already had the account. It was doing decently, but I come in and help him rewrite the tweets, basically copywriting to fix his funnel as well. We start getting lots of leads, hundreds of leads, and every single person who comments, they receive this kind of DM with the link to apply. For example, this post, 198 people comment, and each and every single one of those people would receive this kind of DM. And then a fraction of them, maybe like, let's say 50% of them would actually end up clicking on it. It would take them to the next step, which is this application. What Michael's selling, each price point is between 15K to 100K in sale. So really, even if just like 1 to 3.5% convert, that's a huge amount for him. Ended up closing quite a substantial amount from this tweet. This account, he's very successful now. We're in LA, so this is me here. That's Michael right there, celebrating his success. Let me skip these and take you guys to this one over here. This is Parker. This is obviously not his face, it's a faceless account. Parker is one guy, a friend that I have that is very successful with AI models. It's kind of like AI OFM. I partnered with him because he obviously has this knowledge, but I have the knowledge on how to market it and how to get sales on Twitter. We start making posts like this. A few words, takes a few seconds to type this out, attach, slap an image or two, and it gets this kind of engagement. 37,000 views, 164 comments. This post generated 27K in sales from 6 sales out of 164 people. So this one, for example, is quite similar. 112 comments, $20,000 from 4 sales. What we're selling here is a coaching plus course all combined. These kinds of posts, this post made quite a bit actually. We were able to track where the leads came from, which posts. So let me explain to you how the funnel works. Whenever someone comments, they would get a link redirected to this Discord server. And the Discord server contains a lot of free material, free course, free ebooks, free documents in Google Docs, basically teaching about how this business works. And at the very end, there's a call to action to apply for the mentorship program, and you fill out this tally form. And then actually we ended up having 1,824 submissions for the application to apply for the coaching program. And 577 of them ended up booking a call, which is around like a third of those people. Very high rate. For those of you who are in this industry, you will know that 577 calls for 1,800 submissions is insane. Very, very good. And then 132 of them purchased for 4.3K on average. It was generally 5K, but we gave a lot of people discounts. So the average came out to be like 4.3K. And this was $570,000 cash collected within a 3-month period. This account was only live for 3 months. The reason why, to be completely honest and transparent with you guys, the account has been terminated and discontinued because it conflicted with my moral boundaries. That's why this account was only active for 3 months. Obviously, it was a tough mental battle for me, right? This account is making so much money. There was this fight in my head. What should I do? Should I keep going or not? It was a tough decision, but I realized that the money comes and goes. Same amount of money that I make, whether it's like 100K, it feels different. Even if it's the same amount, it feels different depending on the source. If it is coming from something that I genuinely did good, then it feels great. But if it comes from something that it doesn't feel right, it just doesn't sit right with me. So to be transparent, that's why I discontinued this account. But regardless, it did get a lot of sales and was pretty successful. And obviously, 570K in 3 months, that might seem like a lot to you guys, which of course it is a lot. But let me tell you that before I started out, everything seems impossible. 10K per month, 500K in 3 months, all of that seems impossible until you accomplish it. For me, for example, like 50 million per month seems impossible to me, right? But I know that it's only going to feel impossible until I achieve it. So that's the phenomenon, which is very interesting, is that everything seems impossible until you one day achieve it. So just keep that in mind. You have to always understand that even if it seems impossible, it's always very doable. There's a chance that you can make it happen. Okay, so that's an example of a faceless account that I had. I built this entirely from zero, this account. What else? Okay, so another account. This is Arian. He's also in LA with me. Case study number 2, he's also doing more than 100K per month. And to be completely honest, I didn't help him too much, but he is using my exact strategies and systems. I didn't help him from zero. I didn't help him from day one, but I did consult him a lot, and he uses the same exact strategies that I use. Notably, the same format, arrows, numbers, bullet points, and there's a call to action at the very end, same exact that I use. I'd slap an image, and basically farming for comments, which is basically leads. He makes a bunch of these posts to get quite a lot of views. And so each comment is a lead again, and they are redirected to book a call with him. And of course, what is he charging? He's charging something similar as Michael. He's building AI systems for people and big companies. He charges anywhere between 5K to like 20K or 30K, sometimes even like 1.5 million for a big company, but that was a one big exception that he had. He has around like 5 to 10 client projects per month, and easily 100K per month, very easily, well past that. And obviously, we celebrate as well. This is Universal Studios in Hollywood, California, LA. This is the tallest restaurant in all of the West Coast, not just California, not just LA, but this entire California is the tallest restaurant, very luxurious. We go celebrate. But this is a great success from Twitter. I've helped a lot of my friends get up to 100K per month. So yeah, this is another guy, for example. This is Levi, okay? So this is another case study. I consulted him in early to mid-March 2026. I advised a couple things throughout the calls. Using Tweet Hunter to improve conversion rates by 50x. Also before, his call to action was not visible. And I also showed him how to automate the DM feature, how to schedule posts in advance. Before, he had a terrible conversion rate, and I advised to basically focus on high ticket only. And I also advised to add an email nurture sequence as well. He's selling a TikTok shop curriculum, and he's selling for $2,000. So basically the funnel is like whenever someone comments or likes, it will automatically send them to this checkout link. It would send them to this checkout link, and there would be an application, and then people would basically pay him $2,000. And within a month later, he's basically like, we've done 30K profits last week. So yeah, he's doing very well off of Twitter. And actually, last time I talked to him, he said that he did 54K in 9 days. So he's very successful. He's implemented a lot of my advice and has achieved success, and he's only continuing to improve with this entire thing. And when it comes to LA, we spend time together. This is us. This is us at the beach, Malibu. If you've been to Malibu, that is absolutely gorgeous. We go to Nobu, Malibu as well. Have an incredible food, spend some great time. That's one thing, is that I really cherish relationships with each person that I work with, whether it's a partner, whether it's a coaching student. I really cherish spending time together. It's very important for me. Relationships are always first. The number of people that I work with is very limited, but for each person that I do work with, they're each very important. They're like family members, like brothers. Here's another account, for example. This is sweepstakes. This is another account, websites. This is another guy, Caleb. I've helped him to succeed. I'm kind of going through each of these because there's so many. This is homework arbitrage. This guy, okay, so this is a complete faceless account. As you can see, this account teaches people about sweepstakes and affiliates. He gets lots of views on his posts. He's frequently gotten views, hundreds of thousands per post. He has multiple accounts actually, but it helped him to create posts like these, and he has a Discord server. So whenever someone comments or likes, it automatically DMs them this Discord material, and in the Discord there are lots of things inside. Notably, there is a free course in there, like a free guide, and of course there's a call to action to sign up to purchase his course or his coaching program. So you can see here, these are the prices, and by this point he has made well over $1 million doing this entire thing. And you can see that I have done an interview with him. How he became successful is 20 minutes, step by step, explaining his journey of how he started doing 4-figure days with this. So you can go watch it. It looks like this. It's on my YouTube channel if you'd like to go watch it. He has multiple of these accounts. So it's not just one, but I think he has like by now 3 or 4 of these that are doing very well. Okay. This is another guy that I've helped. So this is Andrew. He's doing well over 100K per month in sales now. I've been helping him from the very beginning. Now he has quite a bit of followers, as you can see. He's doing pretty good. And you can see these are the kinds of posts he makes. So it's generally like how to make money online kind of content. Is more vague and broad compared to the other accounts that I have. They get decent amount of views, usually one image attached. These are generally ChatGPT generated, but you can see the format is exactly the same as my tweets, and I've basically consulted him, helped him make these kinds of posts. He's easily averaging over 3 to 5 million views on Twitter every single month. Before working with me, he was getting decent views, but not much conversions, not much views. So basically, I've helped him build it. This has been a long-term project working together. Whenever someone comments on his post, it leads them to a newsletter. So they sign up to this newsletter. We have over 115,000 emails in this newsletter by now. As you can see, these are the kind of emails that you would get, sending 2 to 3 times per week. And inside those emails are the latest news, articles, tech software space, that sort of stuff. And also getting sponsorships from these kinds of companies as well. He monetizes by 2 ways. One is that he sells a $500 consulting for 30 minutes, right? He is an expert in marketing. So that's why he sells this consulting. And also, obviously, he gets sponsored from these companies, AI companies, to basically talk about them. He's making quite a bit now. This is another case study. So this is Adam. He's done a $260 million exit with his e-commerce company. And he was looking for help building his personal brand. So when he came to me, basically he had 5,000 followers, but his posts were not getting much engagement. As you can see here, not much engagement at all. So that was before working with me. And to be completely honest, it wasn't immediate that I started getting results for him. It took around 2 weeks or so of me posting every single day until we had one viral post that absolutely blew up. And then from there, it's very easy to keep getting posts that get engagement. So we've gotten more than 10K followers within a month. As you can see here, this was the first viral post that I made for him. 260,000 views. Did quite well. And this post has gained more than 4,000 or 5,000 followers, right? We can see posts like these as well that also perform well. Pretty good views and pretty good engagement, good comments as well. So these kinds of posts that I've been making for him, they have contributed to a gain of many notable famous followers, some really famous celebrities, and also some really high level business entrepreneurs. So among these lists, it's just a few examples, but you can see here people doing eight figures, nine figures, nine figures. Parsley is my friend. He does $350 million, as you can see here. Luke Belmar, pretty famous. Eight figures, 40 million. He's done eight figures, 300 million. This guy's famous, nine figures, actually multi nine figures, 35 million, 350 million. Just a lot of famous people, very high level people. This is just a few of the people that follow him. Of course, there's tons and tons of more high level 8 to 9 figure people that follow him now because of the followers that he's gained from the posts. So Twitter is a very good place to network, to connect with other high level entrepreneurs, especially if you already have experience. But yeah, you can see here, like these tweets aren't really that complicated. We're just making one tweet per day, one or two max. And this is the results that you get. This diagram I made a few weeks ago. So by now, obviously, there's a lot more that isn't shown here. But consistently getting lots of views and, of course, thousands of leads acquired regularly. So here's how the funnel works. The funnel, whenever someone likes or comments, it will automatically send them basically a playbook in his website. There's a lot of free material in that playbook. It's like a free ebook, a free guide, where you can learn a lot. And at the very end, there is a call to action. There are 3 tiers of basically consulting that you can choose from. And of course, these are monthly prices, 10K per month, 24K per month, 49K per month. So these are some options, and there's a lot of people who have applied to join these tiers. Again, full transparency, I want to acknowledge that it did take approximately 2 weeks or so of me posting every single day until I started getting traction on his account. So it wasn't overnight. But after 2 weeks of posting every single day, we got one viral post that got 250K views. And from there, it's been very easy. Of course, not easy, but it's very consistent that you'll get posts one after another that get very good engagement and views and great quality leads. Okay, so yeah, so those are some examples, case studies of accounts that I'm working with currently that are doing anywhere between 30, 50K to more than 100K per month. I couldn't list all of them because that would just take too much time for me. But this probably represents a third of all the accounts that are currently running right now. Most accounts I can't show you, but at least I hope you can see kind of the structure of what it looks like, right? Because let's say, for example, I just told you I make posts on X and I sell digital products and services and stuff like that. Like you wouldn't really understand clearly as well as if I just showed you exactly step by step the funnel, the process instead. I think that you would understand the process a lot better now that I'm showing you with these diagrams. I hope it's more clear, but again, I'm taking generally a profit split from each of the accounts that I work with. I'm helping these accounts grow from zero or at least very little traction to growing very big. And of course, I am also getting a split from each of these as well, which after combining the total, it amounts to being a pretty significant amount every single month. And a lot of you guys might be asking, why am I able to run so many accounts? How am I managing so many accounts? And the reason is because I have automations and systems in place, meaning that the engine is running by itself. The posts are automated. The funnel is automated. So everything is able to happen even if I'm asleep or even if I am on vacation next to the beach without my phone. So all this is working by itself. Of course, setting it up takes a lot of time. Gaining traction does take a lot of time. But once you have it going, it's very, very straightforward. You can think of it as like building an engine, right? In the beginning, it takes a lot of time to build it, but once it's fully built, it's running by itself. So it's the same thing here. Once you have it running autonomously, then I'm able to add and build more. These are more miscellaneous wins here in this section. You can see that I have done interviews with some people. I've helped a lot of people to get up to consistently 1 to 5K profit days. So you can watch those videos. They explain their journeys of what kind of problems they had. Of course, everyone goes through difficulties and problems, but how they overcame that very transparently. not just the wins and the glorious parts, but really showing transparently and holistically the full picture. You can go watch them on my YouTube channel. It's available. There are some students that have bought pretty nice cars. This student I'm proud of because when he started out, he was just working at a cafe, but he progressed quite a bit within less than a year. I think around 2/3 of a year just working with me. And of course, you can talk to whoever you like if you're considering so. You can talk to any of my partners or clients. Here are some more wins. I should add more because there's so many recently. But yeah, full transparency again. Don't want to just show the wins and the parts that are glorious, but really show you the full picture. I showed you some successful accounts, but there are also many accounts that never worked out. For probably every successful account, there has been one account that failed. And let me be honest of why they did. The biggest reason, probably like 90% of the time, is just because of inconsistency of posting. Just a matter of not putting in the work. Even if the work is being put in for like a month, maybe let's say, for example, 3 months and 5 months, and they just stop posting, for example, out of laziness or not enough time, or maybe pivoting businesses, whatever reason, a lot of people will just like fall off and stop posting. So that's the biggest reason, quitting too early. Sometimes it does happen that you get banned, permanently suspended, shadow banned, but that has only happened once out of working with more than 100 accounts. It's quite rare, but it does happen. There are also some niches that just never get traction at all. So in that case, all you have to do is just pivot to a new niche. Of course, there are also niches that just never get any traction at all. So in those cases, it's just best to pivot to a new proven to work niche. A lot of these cases, it's just some of my clients or partners, they want to work with some kind of thing that has never been done before, like a very, very niche industry that no one really knows about. Let's say, for example, some kind of spirituality thing are very hard to gain traction with. But my specialty, what I'm used to and good at, is posting about business content. So that includes like e-commerce, trading, sales, digital products, sweepstakes, YouTube, Amazon FBA, those kinds of businesses I'm very used to. Okay. And in case you might be wondering, most of my accounts are completely faceless. Probably approximately 80% of them are completely faceless, meaning that you don't show your face. The profile picture is just a random picture, and it works without ever showing your face. In the beginning, I never showed my face. So I think like within 1.5 years into posting on X and being successful, I had already made millions of dollars off this platform, and it doesn't make too much of a difference. Besides, people do trust you a little bit better, but there's not much of a huge difference. And that's the thing, is that you might see tweets that with only 20K or 50K views, and a lot of people underestimate them. This is why there aren't many sellers on Twitter. It's because they would look at these posts and they would underestimate how much sales they're making, when in reality, those posts could be making $3,000 or $11,000 sales per post, making that much. That's why a lot of people underestimate X and never really get into this social media platform. But once you crack it, it's very, very powerful. In my opinion, obviously, it's so much better than Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, any other platform. X is definitely number one. In terms of concentration of serious buyers, let's say you get 1,000 views, and then you're gonna get more serious people that are trying to buy compared to Instagram, TikTok. Those people are just scrolling, cheap dopamine. No one is serious about buying. But people on X are very smart. It's text-based platform. People read, they're very smart. They have a lot of money compared to all the other social media platforms. So Twitter, it makes so much money for every 1,000 views compared to other platforms. So whenever you've seen posts on X that is like, comment this to get this specific guide, or this free guide, free course, free ebook, anything like that, chances are those accounts belong to me or they're managed by me. You're probably seeing my posts every single day. It's like whenever it says comment this to get this thing, we're getting millions of views every single day and getting so much sales. And to be quite frank, most of these people were complete beginners when they started out building X. Obviously, they're experts because they've been growing so much over the past few months. But of course, they did start from zero. They did start with an offer, But obviously, they became a lot better at posting, a lot better at being knowledgeable about their topic. Of course, there are some few exceptions, like, for example, Adam, that already had 9-figure business experience beforehand. But most people that are in this case study don't have much experience, to be quite frank. For example, a lot of people tried dropshipping, they've tried trading, they've tried some online business before, but never really succeeded. And they come to me, growth is very slow in the first few weeks. But then it starts to ramp up after 1 month, getting lots of views, millions of views, and getting lots of sales. And of course, each month, you just keep improving at every aspect of this business, the marketing, the posting, the funnels, the systems, the sales, all of that you keep improving. So yeah, that's the end of this section, this case study section. Okay, so this is section 3. I'm going to be revealing my secret tool that I use, the software tool. I'll just reveal it to you. It is tweethunter.io. Let me share my screen. So as you can see right now, we're in Tweet Hunter. So if you just search up tweethunter.io, you'll be able to use this tool, and it's necessary, absolutely necessary for this business to work. So let me give you a quick tour. I'm not sponsored by Tweet Hunter, which is the funny part, but it's very important that you learn how this works. So this is the main section where you create posts right here. So you can just like post whatever content you like. You can post it now, or you can schedule it in advance. So for example, you can schedule it like Tuesday at 8 p.m. or something like that, for example. And you can see the drafts that you have right here. The two things that are very important about this platform is, one, being able to schedule posts in advance. And number 2 is being able to auto DM people. Basically, so whenever someone replies, let's say replies to your comment, for every single person who does, you can send them a custom text or link, or a combination of them. For example, you can send them a link to buy your digital product, or for me, I just send out a YouTube video, or you can send out lead magnet or free ebook, or you can send anything in the auto DM box. So whenever someone replies, you can send them, or whenever someone likes, you can send them as well. So that's very important to use the auto DM feature. Another thing is, of course, retweeting. So you can automate these retweets as well. So over the course of every 3 hours, it would make a retweet. So in 9 hours, it would retweet 3 times each 3 hours. Here are the posts that are scheduled, and here are the posts that have already been made. But yeah, that's basically Tweet Hunter. Here are some more posts that have been hot, trending on X that you can see right here. And you can take inspiration from them, and you can also use the AI feature to create similar posts to these. Basically, my entire business runs on this tool. So it's very important that you use this if you want to become very successful with this. But let me show you a case study of before and after. So here is a tweet. You can see that it got a good number of views, 70K views. But the problem was that he was trying to sell this program, but this link only got 2K views compared to 70K views. That's very, very little. Preferably 70K people would actually end up seeing this link, right? It's not very visible. So before, very little people were clicking on the link, maybe 20 to 40 people, right? But then after, once you start DMing every single person who likes or comments, that would allow for a lot more. So let's say, for example, you DM every single person who liked this post, DM 906 people who liked the post, and of course, that would get a lot more eyeballs, a lot more attention, a lot more likelihood that people actually end up buying, right? So Tweet Hunter is very important to fix this. That's before and after, right? So you can see how important it is to use this. You can use the strategy of literally AI generating hundreds of posts within just a few minutes, right? And then you can schedule them in advance every single day. So for the rest of the month, you don't need to take care of that. And just from 1 hour's of work, you can generate, like, for example, 50 million views and lots of money, lots of sales generated, tens of thousands of dollars from that at the bare minimum. So yeah, auto DMs, schedule posts in advance. And if you use this, then $1,000 per day is very, very doable. So that's the end of section 3. If you're asking how much does it cost, this thing has a bunch of different tiers, but I just use the lowest, the cheapest subscription, which is $30 per month. That is perfectly sufficient. So just use that. So right here in section 4, I have created a 3-month game plan for you guys. This is a step-by-step instruction to make 10K or 30K per month within 3 to 5 months from now if you start. This will generally take you 10 hours of work per week to do this. And a quick disclaimer, I obviously offer no promises, but this is just to show you this section, to show you what my students and clients have been doing that have allowed them to see success. Of course, this assumes 10 hours of continuous work per week. Obviously, please don't expect any results if you're not putting in the work as shown here. To start, you want to create an X account, obviously. If you already have one, that's great. Preferably, the more age, the better. Next thing, you want to create or choose a product to sell. What I generally recommend is for you guys to do an affiliate, which basically means that you're going to promote someone else's digital product or service or program, and you get a percentage split for that. So for example, like let's say that you refer someone to a course that's $2,000, right? And you get $1,000, basically half of it for every person you refer. So that works great. It's great because you don't have to create a product yourself. You can already just work off an existing program out there. If you want to choose an affiliate program, here are some requirements that you can filter from. It's great if the offer has already done minimum 200K in sales and it has great reviews. You can generally see on WOP how much sales the offer has done already. Make sure that it has good reviews because you want to refer your followers and audience to something that's actually a great product. And you want to make sure that you're actually getting, and you want to make sure that you're also getting a pretty generous affiliate percentage cut. So for example, if you're getting 5 or 10%, percentage, that's not very good. Try to aim for something higher, like 30 or 50%. Of course, you can sell your own offer, but in the beginning, I would just recommend doing affiliate because the learning curve is a lot less. Here, I want to show you guys how to find an affiliate offer. So if you go to wop.com/affiliates, as you can see here, you'll find a lot of options to choose from. Okay, so here are each different offers, basically different programs, different digital products or services out there. And you can see the industry type for each. For example, there's trading, there is sports picks group, there is lots of different industries topics out there. And this basically shows you how much commission you get for each sale. Here you can see how much all the other affiliates have combined total made off of those offers. Here you can see how many sales they've gotten, over 10K each, $1,000 each. This is EPC, earnings per click. This is conversion rate. So you want to choose something that has a pretty high conversion rate here. And for any of these, you can become an affiliate. So let's say, for example, this one looks pretty good, right? 50% cut. People have made a lot on this and the conversion rate is pretty decent. So I can choose to become an affiliate for this, right? And then now I have joined the affiliate program. I can view assets. So here is the affiliates link. It's my own custom link. So whenever I get a sale through this, basically tracks automatically back to me and I automatically get my payouts. It's very straightforward, as you can see. I would like you to choose something that has already gotten lots of sales and you get paid quite a lot for each sale that you get. All right. And of course, you can choose whatever industry or niche you want to choose that fits you best. So here are 3 examples of affiliate offers out there. This is example number 1, example 2, example 3. So this one, for example, is a program that teaches you how to build faceless Instagram pages. And you can see it's $197, basically $200. And you can get a 90% cut for every referral, basically meaning that you almost get the entire thing for yourself, right? That's approximately $180 that you keep for every sale. If you refer 50 people to this, you've made approximately 10K. If you make 100 people buy this, then that's 20K that you keep profits for yourself. And just repeat this monthly. It's not that difficult to do, especially once you learn how to get millions of views for every week from your posts. Example number 2 of an offer. So here you can see this is sports picks. They have a bunch of different tiers. Some people will end up buying a $60 per month program. Some people end up buying a $40 per week program, and they have a 50% cut for this, basically meaning that you're going to get $20 per week recurring, which is $80 per month, right? For each person who signs up through your link, this is the profits that you're going to make. So if you refer 100 people to this, then you're going to make 8K recurring every single month. Not just this month, but next month, next month, next month. You're going to keep getting 8K per month. Even if you just stop marketing the next month, you're going to still make this amount every single month. Of course, there will be some churn. There will be some people who unsubscribe, but most of them will remain. This is powerful because you can compound. So if next month, again, you refer another 100 people, then you have 16K recurring every single month, monthly recurring revenue. This is example number 3 of an offer. So this is my friends. This program teaches people about TikTok Shop. It's $8,000. You get a 30% affiliate referral, basically meaning that for each person you refer, you get $2,400. You can see that approximately 960 people have signed signed up. So they've done almost 10 million with this. So if you refer 4 people, you've made almost 10K. If you refer 10 people, then you've made 24K. And you just repeat monthly. To get 4 or 10 people to buy is not that difficult, especially on X, because on X there's a lot of high quality, very wealthy people. So even if you get 1,000 views, you can make 2 or 3 sales, for example. And of course, you could also even do affiliate for me. I can give $500 or $1,000 for every sale that you get from me. Just DM me in that case if you'd like. But I just wanted to show you that there's a lot of different options out there. These are just 3 examples to choose from. There are so many. And of course, you could be running all 3 of these at the same time. Like you can have an account for faceless Instagram, you can have an account for sports bets, you can have an X account for TikTok Shop. You could be running these 3 accounts simultaneously, getting views on each of them and getting sales on each of them. So it works very powerfully. There's also a lot of products that just aren't available to the public, some of the best converting ones. So if you'd like some more options, some private ones, then you can DM me and I will give them to you. So this is an example of month 1. Let's say that you start off with 1 account, right? Let's say that you pick the Instagram niche and you get a decent number of views. Of course, things are going to be slow because you just started out. Maybe, for example, 8K views, a few likes, something like this. But let's say you make 5 posts like these every single day. And notice that you don't need any prior success or experience to write these kinds of tweets. You're just saying Instagram is number 1, some information about them. You can just research or have Claude AI generate these. And you don't need to have much experience. You slap a link at the very end, affiliates offer link, get money from that each time. None of you guys know how to create viral tweets. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to teach you to even write tweets for you if you like, and you can learn based off of them and keep practicing. It's like a sport. You can only improve at a sport if you just go to practice, right? You practice any skill, and then you improve, you start to get lots of views, right? So in the very beginning, you're probably going to suck. You're going to get like 8K views or something like that. So very little compared to month 2 and month 3. So conservatively, let's say, for example, let's break down the stats. So if you get just 1K views per post, like on each post, and you post 5 times a day, then you're going to get 5K views per day, right? And you do that every single day for 30 days. So that's going to be 150K views per month. And these are some of the stats that I would get, or some of my clients or my partners would get. 500,000 views in a month within the first month. Of course, the first month is very slow. You're just starting to learn. So don't expect a lot, but this is typical month. So again, 150K views, maybe 200K views, you get 2,000 leads. If, let's say, for example, only 1 of every 100 viewers would actually end up liking or comment, 2,000 leads. The definition of lead for me is just anyone who comments. 1% of the people comment, and then let's say 40% of those people actually end up buying. So out of every single person who comments, maybe like 2% of people actually end up buying, right? Which is very low. But if you get 40 sales of $100, you've made $4,000. So this is just an example stat breakdown. If lucky, you can get a few sales of more than $500 or $1,000, for example. So in your first month, this is what you might see on your phone. A few sales, maybe like once or twice per day, for example, these kinds of sales. $200, $150. And of course, remember that these accounts are completely faceless. You just spend a few seconds writing each tweet, or you can have AI to generate them. A lot of you guys might be asking, what if I pick a niche and within 3 weeks it doesn't get any views? In that case, it's pretty rare that that happens if you work with me. But in the case that it does, you can just always switch to a new niche until it works out. And inevitably, it always does. And here's a misconception, is that you don't need to get viral views in order to get sales. Even posts that get 800 views or 1,500 views on a single post, those can get sales as well. Because on X, targeting is very, very good. Meaning that even if you get low number of views, it's very likely that you're going to get very high concentration of high level people who are very wealthy, who are smart, who are very interested in buying. So sometimes I even get $300 sales without even getting 200 views on a post, for example. So that always happens. Don't beat yourself up even if you're not getting posts that are going viral. Month 2, you're probably going to pick up a bit more. Let's say you add 2 more accounts, right? So we still keep the account on Instagram. So that's still running. And of course, by this point, you're going to have more traction, more engagement. But you add 2 more accounts, sports betting and TikTok Shop, each of these. So again, you're still making 5 of these posts per account every single day. And let's say you're starting to pick up from the original account. 22, 23, 25K views per day, for example. a decent amount of engagement. But of course, these are brand new. So you're going to get a lot more views, a lot more sales this month. Let's say, for example, you're still hitting 1K views per post average every single day, and you're making 15 posts every single day across 3 of your accounts. So you're going to get 15K views per day. Let's say, for example, 15 or 16K. And over 30 days, that's equivalent of 500K views, right? So, of course, the typical results that my partners, me, my clients see anywhere between 1 to 1.5 or 2 or 3 million views in the second month. That's pretty typical. These are the kinds of stats that you can get. These are the example stats that you can get. This account, this Instagram niche from before, is starting to pick up. You're going to get more views. And let's say you get 500K views this time instead of 200K. You get 5K leads and you get 50 sales of 200. We've picked up the volume of each sale. So you're going to make 10K, for example. This is obviously a hypothetical stats breakdown. That's pretty common to see. And account 2 and 3, they are getting obviously less views, probably because they just started. But let's say that you're getting a decent amount of leads, decent amount of sales. And if you add up for each account number 1, you make 10K. Account number 2, you make 4K. Account number 3, you make 4K. Then in total, you're going to make 18K across 3 accounts. This is just obviously example once again. And in the second month, you're starting to pick up more sales more frequently, and you're also going to start gaining the confidence to get higher ticket sales, which is like $300, $500, sometimes even $1,000. So this is typical what you might see in the day. And this is a side note, just to be completely transparent with you guys, the first month is always going to be the most difficult. It's similar to if you've gone to some sports practice, some training. The first month of joining a sports team is always going to be the most difficult and most brutal. It's likewise the same here. It's the most difficult. You're not going to get much results and you're going to be putting in a lot of work. But month 2, it's going to get a lot easier because you understand things better. You have better skills. You're able to get more results, and it feels like a lot less work than month 1. So, and of course, the algorithm is going to be more in your side as well. So that's important to note. And month 3, same thing here. Let's say you add even 2 more accounts. So you have 5 accounts total. I'm not going to go over the exact nitty-gritty details again. Each account, you're getting a lot more views, and you have more accounts as well. So let's say 10 million views, which is pretty normal. Let's say conservatively 3 million views. Average result 10, 15 million views. This is like a screenshot of some of my partners' dashboard. As you can see, 10 million views. Typical 3-month breakdown. And if you have 5 accounts, then obviously you're going to be getting a lot more sales. The accounts from before are starting to pick up even more. 30K, 8K, 8K, 4K, 4K, total 54K. It's not uncommon at all to see these kinds of results within 3 months of working with this. And of course, you're going to be more confident in getting $1,000 sales, $1,500 sales. Now, as you start scaling to around 20, 30, 50K per month, and you start to focus more on high ticket, then it is an option to start hiring setters and closers. This would just be off of paying them commission based, meaning that you would just pay them a percentage, such as 5 to 10%. This is important if you're selling high tickets. For example, something that is $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, then it becomes important to actually hop on a call with them to have setters and closers to handle this for you. But if you're selling things that are less than 2 or 3K, then it's not important to do this. This is technical, high level stuff, but let me show you how exactly it works, how I handle all this. So first things first, I want to basically clarify what a setter and what a closer is. So basically, a setter's job is to make sure that the lead, the prospects, actually hops onto the call to remind the prospect. And the closer's job is to actually hop on a call and convince the prospect to buy. Hence, they close the sale. You can also hire your setter to basically cold DM people every single day to strike conversations with people, your followers. So if you're a setter, for example, cold DMs 500 people per day, and let's say that 100 of them actually end up replying, right? So that's like 20% reply rate. And let's say that 5 people actually end up booking a call, which is 1% of the total people striking a conversation with. So 5 people book a call per day, for example. And then of course the closer would try to convince them to buy. If the closer has a 40 to 60% close rate, for example, then you would get 2 to 3 sales. If you're selling something for $1,000, then you would get 2 to 3K in sales. So you can focus all your energy on just marketing, making the posts. And then from there, once you have your audience and viewers, then you can just let the seller and closer handle the rest of the work, convincing them to buy. And if you'd like me to refer you some of the top closers and setters in the US, I have a huge network of them. So if you'd like, you can contact me and I can give you their contacts and stuff like that. And of course, each of their details, like their availability and information about their experience and stuff like that. So of course, that's for later once you're more experienced. But yeah, that's the basic 3-month game plan. If you continue this and you're consistent every month for like a year or more, then you'll start to have more accounts that are each getting lots of views and getting lots of sales. For example, I currently have more than 50 accounts. You'll only keep growing as long as you show up every day. You keep posting consistently. So a lot of you guys might ask me, is this oversaturated? It's a fair question. The way I'll answer this is by saying that every platform has competitors. It's going to be very rare for you to actually do business with zero competition. It's just not going to happen. You're going to have competitors and other sellers on any platform, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or Instagram or X. You're going to have other people doing the same exact thing. What I'll say is that there is a reason why I'm doing primarily X. And the reason is because people underestimate how much the posts are making. Some people might look at a post with 20 or 30K views and just think that it's not getting much sales or making much money, where in reality, it could be making 5K or 12K in sales. The reason is because the targeting is just so advanced on X. Even with very little followers or little views, you're going to be able to target very high quality people and a big concentration of them. One thing that I will say is though, I was the first person to introduce the niches, the accounts in sweepstakes, ebooks, AI models, YouTube, the first ever accounts on X to do more than 50K per month. So before me coming onto the platform, there was basically no one using it to make more than 50K per month with their accounts. And once again, targeting is just so high that even with just 1,000 views, for example, it's not uncommon to get like a $500 sale. And because of that, of how advanced it is, and because of how little people there are, I do think that this is the beginning stages, the beginning eras of selling info and digital products on Twitter. Just like the early days of e-com in the 2010s, you could dropship any product and make a lot of money back then. Or like 10, 15 years ago, it was a lot easier to do 500K days with Facebook ads, for example. So it's similar to that, I believe, on Twitter. There are, of course, a lot more people that are coming, and it's becoming more saturated each year. So next year, it's definitely going to be even more saturated and a lot more competitors. But I still think that it's in the very early stages. And to be quite honest with you guys, my accounts are only continuing to grow in terms of views and the number of sales they're doing over the past years. Growth is continuing to increase, at least I see for the next few years. So that's basically it for this section 4, the game plan of how this works. Obviously, the big elephant in the room is you probably asking, how do I make posts that get views in the first place? That's probably the biggest problem that you guys have. What I'll say to answer that is that I have lots of prompts and templates that you can use. So AI by itself, like Claude AI by itself, is not going to be able to create posts that get viral views. But if you give it the right prompts, the right templates, then you should be able to get lots of views. But of course, I have access to that. Those who do work with me, my partners, my clients, do get insider access to that so that they can get viral posts. But honestly, besides that, this is something that takes a lot of practice. It's kind of like any sport. You can only improve just by practicing, right? Ultimately, this is the art of copywriting, which basically means the art of being able to put together words that is very interesting, educational, and that captures people's attention and curiosity. So, of course, there's certain techniques to do that, and you can only practice daily to become good at this. That is what's going to be able to get you lots of views and lots of sales. This is section 5. I'm going to go into more of the details of how to get views on your Twitter posts. So I'm not going to reveal all my strategies, but I'll give you the basics. So the most important thing to know is that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can just see what other people are doing, what's already working, and you can just copy the same exact strategy. So you don't need to figure it out by yourself, but rather just look at other people's posts, people who are successful, people who are going viral on X, see exactly what they're doing, their techniques, their styles, and you can just copy them. Of course, put your own twist, of course, be original, but steal their strategies. So a lot of what I do is that I will find people who are big on X. They're getting lots of views, and I will basically gather, and then I would gather like 50 or 100 of the most viral tweets. I would just copy and paste the text into a Google Doc, and then I would just upload into Claude AI so that it can see the post that went viral. And then from there, you and the AI can reverse engineer exactly what made the tweets get lots of views. Of course, you can also paste in the comment section, and then it can figure out basically what the audience was thinking, which is very critical to understanding why a post got lots of views. You can analyze the hooks. The first line, for example, you can analyze common styles, formats, you can find patterns. And then, of course, once you find those strategies, once you find those techniques, then you can use that to create your own tweets, to generate your own posts. Very similar, but put your own twist to it. Be unique, of course. Upload those posts, and then you'll get lots of views. This will just take a lot of trial and error. You will be wrong about a lot of the findings that you get. The only way for you to figure this out is just by doing this repeatedly and just testing, experimenting each time. But again, it can find a lot of patterns. It can find emotional patterns that are very important. Basically, the key is that whatever post evokes some kind of strong emotion, the more emotion it evokes, the more engagement and views it's going to get. So that can be rage bait, that can be joy, that can be awe, that can be shock or curiosity. Any of those emotions, really any emotion, any strong emotion will get lots of views. So just focus on that. Also, obviously, be as concise as possible. Don't be wordy. That's very important. But to be completely honest, one of the biggest problems I see is that even those who are getting millions of views every single day, somehow they just reach a very low quality audience and are not able to make any money. So let me show you an example. This Twitter account, it has 1.3 million followers. And of course, once I had partnered and managed this account, so I know the details. But this account is getting at least 5 million views every single day. It's posting multiple times. And the problem is that even though it's getting lots of followers and lots of views, it's just not making any money. And the reason is because the quality of the audience is just so low and they're broke. So this is a lesson to know, is that you don't necessarily make a lot of money just because you have lots of views or followers. It's important to target a very high quality audience. So this is what I'll be going over here. So now I'll be going over how to target high quality people. And the key to do that is to target low and high level people simultaneously. So that might not make sense, but let me explain. So the only way to actually get lots of views and lots of high quality leads on X is to target both low and high quality people at the same time. Earlier, I showed you the X account that was getting lots of views but wasn't making any money. And the reason why is because it's only targeting low quality people. Now you need to target both low and high quality people. The problem is that if you only target high level or high quality people, then you're not going to get much views because those people only represent like 0.01% of the entire Twitter population. So if you only target those people, you're only going to get a few hundred views or a few thousand views max. So basically you want to get both of their attention. And so the way to target both spectrums is to basically have a hook that will make anyone pause. Whether it's a 5-year-old or a billionaire, it's going to stop their attention, make them curious, and make them pause. Notice that I said a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old should be able to understand the post as well. That's the most important part, is that it should be very simple. The first line of a tweet. Even a 5-year-old should be able to understand it. So here's some examples. Like if you post something that's like too high level, too technical, then it's just not going to get much views. It just never works. But on the other side, if you post content that is just too dumb, too simple, then you might get lots of views, but you're not going to make any money because everyone's dumb and too broke. The solution is that you want to have the hook, or basically the first line, that is going to make anyone curious, whether it's a 5-year-old or a billionaire or a politician. It should stop the scrolling of just about anyone, and also it should make sense to even a 5-year-old. Obviously, the hook, the first line, is the most important, but after that, you want to continue making them more interested. Add a lot of value, add a lot of educational stuff. And as you go down the post, you want to start getting more technical gradually. And then by the end, you want to become more high level, more advanced. The reason why that works is because from the hook, from the beginning of the post, it will just get lots of views. Let's say 200,000 people, for example. That will capture just about everyone, right? Every fish in the sea. But then you're going to filter down as you go. And as you filter down, you're just going to filter in the high quality people that you want to capture, right? By the very end, you'll have like 1 or 5% of people who are actually high level, ambitious, and they have a lot of money, and you have successfully captured their attention and they're interested, maybe not to buy yet, but at least they're interested, and they become leads and clients, right? If you look at my posts, you'll understand, because my posts either begin with, I made this amount of money this month, which will attract the attention of just about anyone, 5-year-olds or billionaires. It's very easy to understand. Another example is digital products is the #1 business in the world. That's very easy and concise and simple. This technique is the key to hit 50 or more than 100K per month running your Twitter accounts. The reason why I'm able to make so much money off of X is because of this exact strategy. If you're not using this, then it's just not possible to hit more than 50 or 100K per month per Twitter account. And one other thing is that it's very important to optimize for bookmarks and comments. Actually, from the recent algorithm change, the most important is actually shares. So you want to optimize for shares. That's the most important, but bookmarks and comments are also very important. So you want to basically make posts that maximize the chance that people will do these things. So for example, if you post a lot of information that seems very interesting, there's a lot of education, but it's like too long to read right now and want to revisit later, then a lot of people are going to bookmark that. If you rage bait people, or you basically evoke some kind of strong emotion, or you have people comment to get something for free, then that's going to get a lot of comments. And of course, the Twitter algorithm loves it when your audience maximizes for these engagements. And engagement rates is everything. You could be getting lots of views, like millions of views per day, but without any engagement, it means absolutely nothing. So engagement rate is very important, which is basically how many people comment, bookmark, share, or like your posts. Likes are not very important, but shares are the most important. And if you optimize for these, you're going to get lots of views and lots of high quality leads. And another thing is that once you have a viral post on X, you can keep reusing them, which no one really tells you about. But Tai Lopez does the exact same thing. I do the exact same thing. You have a viral post, and you can just copy and paste the same exact post week after week after week, and it'll just continue to get lots of views and generate lots of leads. For example, I have the same post. You're cooked if you do this, blah, blah, blah. For digital products is the #1 business. I've reused and copied and pasted the same exact post every single week. And each time it generates me thousands of dollars of sales. But of course, there's a lot more strategies and a lot more techniques that I'm currently gatekeeping, but these are the basics of what you need to know in order to make posts to get lots of views and drive very high quality leads. This is very important if you want to start generating clients and getting more than 50 or 100K per month in sales from your Twitter account. You'd be quite surprised how many people don't even just look at other people's posts and just reverse engineer. Like, it's literally right in front of your face every single day when you're scrolling. You should be able to pick up on patterns of why certain people's posts get views. You should be learning as you're scrolling, not just consuming and becoming dumber, but rather just like each time figure out what are the patterns that viral people are using so that you can replicate the same. It's shocking that people just aren't looking at other people's posts. You're trying to figure out how to make a viral post, but then all you have to do is just look at people who are already accomplishing that and see exactly what they're doing and do the exact same. Of course, put your own unique twist to it, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's a lot simpler than you might think. But yeah, that's basically the quick crash course on how to get views. Of course, so next is section 6. I want to talk about the retweet circle that I built and I own. If you're asking what it is, you can think of it as basically a group chat of approximately 70 or 80 people. And it's full of some of the biggest Twitter accounts in existence. So they have lots of followers and they consistently get lots of views. And basically how it works is that if you're a beginner and you make a post and obviously you're struggling with engagement, you're struggling to get views, you'll take the URL link of your post, right? And then you paste it into the group chat. And then other members inside the group chat, we will all repost it for you, give you a boost, give you a shout out so that all of our followers, lots of our viewers will basically go to your post. So it's very common that if you access to this retweet circle, then you'll get posts. Your first post will reach 20 or 100K views, or sometimes they get millions of views. So it's very common for this to happen. It's basically like a boost, a huge boost, and it'll save you months of work. For me, for example, for the first 2 or 3 months, I was making probably 10 posts every single day on X for 2 to 3 months straight, and I was just not getting any views. So by that point, I probably had made approximately 1,000 posts or so without getting any views. It took a long time before I got my first viral posts, but if you use this retweet circle, then you can basically start going viral from day one. And obviously, this is what it'll look like if you don't use it. If you try to do it yourself, you're not going to get any views or likes. But if you do use it, then a lot of us with big accounts will just boost and retweet your post. Let's say hypothetically, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, Taylor Swift, Elon Musk, Trump, some of the biggest accounts on social media, they retweet your post, and then of course you'll go viral instantly. Obviously, the accounts in the retweet circle are not as big as that, but it's the same analogy there. You'll go viral from day one. And that's why some of the top accounts on X, a lot of the top accounts on X in the business niche use this retweet circle because it gives you a massive unfair advantage. And it places you in the top 0.01% very quickly. So let me show you a few examples. This is Jaden, for example. He used a retweet circle. He uploaded a post, and then it got 43K views, and it generated lots of sales, 7 sales of $500 each for 3.5K in sales in the first day. Here's another one. Use the retweet circle once and it got 1 million views on the first ever post, as you can see here. Here's another one where we generated 50K views. So the one important thing to note is that I don't optimize for number of views or impressions, but rather high quality views and impressions. So we targeted approximately 40K people here, but we targeted 40K high quality people who are willing to buy. That's why we got lots of sales here. We could have targeted, for example, 500,000 or 1 million impressions for low quality people, but that would not have gotten any sales. So it's important to note that I clarify that these impressions are high quality people. I would rather just have 0 views and 0 followers than to have 1 million trash followers and 1 million trash views. And of course, if you would like access to this retweet circle, this group chat, insider access, then basically there's an application in the link in bio of this YouTube. You can apply to work one-on-one with me. And then if you get in, if you are accepted, then you can have access to that. So yeah, that's basically the retweet circle. This is why I'm able to crank out so many accounts very fast. Of course, my first ever account on X took forever to gain traction and go. But now I'm able to crank out lots of accounts, just like how bunnies have like hundreds of babies every year. They just mass reproduce and have lots of babies. This is basically the same idea here. This is a huge reproduction machine where I can just start a new Twitter accounts like today, and I have confidence that it will start going viral immediately. And that's the reason is because it just gives you unfair advantage. Another example you can think of, like Elon Musk, for example. He has like 20 kids by now, but absolute reproduction machine. And you can think of this as the exact same thing. Just continue to print and generate. It'll just continue to pump viral accounts one by one very quickly. Yeah, so yeah, that's the end of section 6. Now moving on to section 7. This is very important because this is a side note. This is kind of like, this is a miscellaneous note, but really X is the #1 best place to grow your network. And X is literally the reason why I have hundreds and hundreds of successful millionaire entrepreneur friends all over the world. Better than YouTube, better than TikTok, and better than any networking event. Really, X, you can think X is #1. You can think of X as basically like a private group chat of just a few thousand hyper successful individuals, and they will all come to you, and you can obviously go to them and just DM them, and you'll get a response very easily. Every single day, I'm getting DMs from just high level people, 7, 8, 9 figure, sometimes 10 figure business owners in all different sorts, all different kinds of business backgrounds. People who are top executives at Fortune 500 companies as well. Some like all the most successful, famous online entrepreneurs that you like, the famous ones I have talked with on Twitter. These are just a few examples here. They'll all come to you. Let me show you a few examples. Here are a lot of examples that I have. Just for example, this is Lucas, right? This was before I had a big audience, and this guy, he's done $50 million per year, basically selling digital products and services. And we realized that we're both in LA. So I shoot him a quick message and he immediately replies. Of course, at this point, we're strangers, just DMing each other for the first time. So people on Twitter, they're very friendly. is what I'll say. And this is just not possible on any other platform. As you can see, even when I was basically nobody, it was very easy to strike a conversation. He comes to my apartment in LA. He picks me up in his white Ferrari F8, and then we go get some lunch at K-Town. We get some Korean barbecue. This is Mike. He's another guy that I met off of X. Actually, the very first time we met online on X was basically when he bought, I think, a $500 digital product from me. So he became a client first, and then we started chatting. And then I began to learn that he was a serious online entrepreneur. And then a few months later, I basically hit him up saying, like, you're going to Budapest as well? If you have an Airbnb, is it cool if I stay over as well? And he says, yes, of course. So we stayed together for like a week. He's a very successful 8-figure affiliate. And he just started business within the past 2 years, and he's very successful. Yeah, so another encounter on X. So this is when I was starting to gain some momentum and get views. I got a DM from Parsa. This is Twitter DMs, as you can see. Just a little about him. He's done over $1/3 billion in sales in ecom. He's very successful. He's in his 20s, and he hits me up. He's like, hey G, are you in Budapest? And I'm just about to leave, but we realized that we're also both in LA. And then we also realized that we're going to Singapore for the F1, so let's link up there, as you can see here. And that's what we end up doing. There's me in the middle and then him on the left. And on the right, he's another very, very successful entrepreneur. He's done over $300 million in doing affiliate. So hyper successful people, all because of the connections that I made through X, just by receiving and sending DMs both. So here's another one. This is Arian. He's younger than me, and he is already making multi 6 figures. He's making around anywhere between like 100, 200K to $1 million deals every single month. So he sells AI systems to big companies, and he DMs me out of the blue on Twitter saying, you seem like a cool guy. We're both in LA. Let's link up. And that's how we become friends, right? We hang out very frequently in LA. As you can see, there's me on the left, him in the middle. Here's another connection. You guys probably know this guy, Tai Lopez. He's done $500 million in sales. And this is also just a coincidence from Twitter DM, just because I'm posting and I have a presence there. So it's very easy to DM with big people and meet up in person. This is I think the Roosevelt Hotel in LA. But yeah, so you're probably starting to see the pattern. Once you have a Twitter presence, it's very easy to send and receive DMs from big people and meet up in person and actually establish real valuable connections and relationships. So this is what I want to show you. That's more important than any amount of money that you'll make. This is another guy, for example. He has done 700K in 18 days. He does millions every single month. And this was a Telegram message, but because he found me on Twitter. And then, of course, on Twitter, I have my Telegram link so that he messaged me there. But you can see this is a very, very important friend that I've made. We hang out a lot in LA. And of course, there are so many more here. These are all people around my age, millionaire entrepreneurs. And these are just connections that I have made off of Twitter, off of X. This is us in Miami. We organized a trip. We met each other through X. Of course, I did put everyone together and then organize a trip to Miami. This is all from X. And of course, each and every single person like these, they introduce their friends. So it's just an exponential effect, like a branching effect where each of them maybe introduce 3 or 10 of their friends to you. And then you also become some friends with them as well. And it's like continues like forever. That's endless loop. And this is all from X. This is why I have more than 300 or probably 400 millionaire entrepreneur friends that are making online internet money that are similar to our age, usually in their 20s and 30s. So Twitter is the reason why I have this network, and probably the connections and network that I've established within the last 2 years just off of X is probably worth like tens of millions of dollars. It definitely is. And that's more important than anything. Again, one thing that is the most important for you to know is that the money comes and goes, right? Like you might make like 100K per month, 200K per month, but eventually money is money. It's just like energy. You make it, it disappears. But what's different is relationships. When you build relationships, like real, genuine relationships, like brotherhood with other people, and they're lifelong, and so many opportunities and so many trips and so many fun things come out of that. Obviously, that is the most important thing. So, like, what I'm trying to pitch to you isn't even just like how much money that you're gonna make from X, but rather like these connections that you're gonna build. I was a nobody when I started building all these connections. But really, all I was doing was just posting on X. I didn't have that much prior success or experience, but I was being authentic and genuine, and I had an interesting story, and I was making interesting posts. That's why I was able to make these connections. And of course, I have taught so many of my students to grow their Twitter accounts, right? To start gaining millions of views and start getting lots of sales. And obviously, they grow their own network as well. They receive their own DMs from big people. And then my student might introduce some really high level, like famous person that they got in their DMs to me. So really, each and every single one of my partners and students that are growing their X is going through the same exact process, and there's just an abundance. There's just way too many people. It's just way too, I guess, simple and easy on X just to start connections with high level entrepreneurs. Of course, you should be very careful. I started to get really cocky, had a very high ego, and I would start being like an asshole. And this is a mistake that I made very early on that obviously I don't want you to repeat the same thing. Really, it can change your ego and your character, your pride when you're surrounded by these people. So just make sure that you keep yourself in check. Just remain humble, be respectful, because that is how you keep relationships. So yeah, that's a very stupid mistake that I made early on, but that's just like a social like thing. But yeah, so this is why I wanted to show you why X beats Instagram, TikTok, or any other social media platform, because this is not possible on other social media platforms. If you DM other high-level entrepreneurs on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, you're not going to get any responses. And also, you're not going to just get any DMs from these kinds of people. On X, you're going to get DMs from these people left and right. And if you send DMs, it's going to be very easy to get a reply. The difference between X and these other platforms is like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, they're like a stage for performance. Everyone is LARPing, putting off their best clips, their videos, and it's basically just putting on a play, be acting and showing like a different side of their story versus X is like the closest thing that you can get to high-level friend group of just serious online entrepreneurs. It's a very authentic, genuine place. And no one's trying to perform or put on a facade or to portray some kind of image about themselves, but it's rather a very open, positive, helpful space on X. There isn't like a massive audience on X. It's more of just like private connections through each account, between each account. So that's why this works so well here. And I forgot to mention that obviously these people are very successful. They have a lot of money, right? So it's very common for some of these guys to be very interested in what you're posting about. Like if you're posting about AI or TikTok Shop, for example, they might be like, that's very interesting. And I've had times where these people would just pay me 30K or 80K just for my consulting. So just for me to give them advice, hop on a call once a week for like 2 months, 30 minutes or an hour each. And I basically advise them and consult them, and they pay me that much to do that. So it's very common for that to happen as well. As you can see, the DM loop, as you can see, you have a chat, they pay quite a bit to learn from you. Obviously, I don't need their money, right? I'm already making quite a lot and I don't need them because they're my friends. I'm like, dude, like you're my bro. You don't need to pay me, but they still do. So that's the beauty about this place. Okay, now section 8. I want to show you guys basically an example funnel. So you guys know that I have a very detailed, specific strategy that I gatekeep. And of course, my team members, my partners, all use the same strategy, which performs very well. Within the past 2 or 3 years of working on this, I figured out the perfect or best procedure, basically step by step, how to put in the work so that you can maximize the engagement, the views, the trust, credibility, and sales. So for example, let's say we're creating 3 to 5 posts every single day per X account, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had the pictures earlier, the images, but I guess the images are gone. But it showed how many comments were in each one. So tweet 1 had 400 comments, 100 comments, 1,000 comments, 600 comments, 600 comments, 900 comments. Each comment is basically a lead, because whenever someone comments, they receive either a link to buy something or a lead magnet to buy something. So these are the kinds of posts that we make. Post 1 is about experience timeline. So that might be, for example, talking about the timeline of someone's business journey. Post 2 is about story, a personal story, and showing some kind of vulnerable moments in the past, lessons learned. Post 3 is educational. So just like that might be, for example, step by step, 30 steps how to create e-commerce store. Tweet 4 is about authority building. So maybe, for example, it's talking about all the other people in the space that are successful and what they're doing wrong. What a lot of people get wrong that are doing millions of dollars, for example. Post 5 is pure reach, viral, engagement farming. So just doing whatever it takes to get views, get engagement and comments. It might be comment baiting, for example. So if you want this thing for free, for example, comment X and I'll send it to you. So these are the kinds of posts. And of course, from one day, that's 3,000 comments, 3,000 leads. For example, it might not be a day, it might be 3 days, approximately 1,000 leads per day, for example. And usually 25% of people opt in to some kind of experience to express interest, which is kind of low. Normally, it's normal to expect anywhere between 20 to 50%. 50% is common. And of course, maybe 1% of people actually end up buying. So 32 purchases. Most of the purchases probably going to be low ticket, $200. A few purchases of $2,000 and maybe one, very rare, $10,000. But of course, 99% of people won't actually end up buying. So what you can do is that you can just enroll them into an email campaign. So if they don't buy, you can have an automated sequence so that it automatically enrolls them, puts them into a 7-day campaign email, which means that they're going to receive one email every single day for 7 days straight. And each of those emails are meant to gain trust, to educate the lead, and at the very end, try to sell them. So this works very well, the emails. A lot of people will actually end up buying from the emails. So you can see here, they actually end up buying. And then the beauty is that you can keep selling after they buy. So maybe someone buys something for $200, for example. And then for every 26 people, maybe 20% of them actually end up buying some other offer. So let's say, for example, here, out of these 26 people, maybe 5 people actually end up buying something else, something additional. Likewise, for the other options, maybe they buy this, for example, and maybe one of these guys, maybe 10%, 20% of these people actually end up buying the next thing. So that's called upselling. You can always sell more, especially if your clients, you over deliver to them and they're very happy with what they got, then the chances of them buying the next thing is very, very high. But so from this exact system and funnel, so it's very common to be getting 20K, 25K in total profits in just a matter of a few days or a week, generated within a week, especially if you have the financing loopholes. I'll get into that a little bit more detail in a bit. I hope this makes sense. So you have a bunch of different posts that get comments and then automatically delivers them a link. In this case, we send a lead magnet, but of course, sometimes you can just send them straight to a checkout link, especially if it's low ticket, like $200, and then just sell from there. I have a lot of accounts. I have many accounts that are doing more than 100K in sales every single month, which is equivalent to approximately 25K per week. So this is not rare. This is not special. It's a lot easier to attain than you might think. But yeah, let me talk about the loophole, the buy now, pay later. That will get you so much more sales. So basically what it is that buy now, pay later, it allows clients to pay in smaller installments. If you're selling something for $1,000, for example, they don't need to pay the $1,000 upfront. They can just pay $250 now, and then a month later, they pay another $250, and they just do that for 4 months so that it adds up to $1,000 total. But the nice part is that you get the full amount, $1,000 upfront. And so basically, how could that work? It's the buy now, pay later company that is taking the risk. They're giving you the full thing while the customer just pays in installments. So I hope that makes sense. So this allows for you to get sales even if the customer doesn't have the full $1,000, you can still make the $1,000 sale. Right. So here's an example. Let's say that we tell a client that it's $50 per month for 24 months. And then you can just get $1,200 upfront, like literally right now. If the client pays $200 a month, then you can have 4,800 upfront, so like literally right now. So even if a client has only, let's say, $200 or $300 in their pocket right now, you can get this full amount right now, which is crazy to think about. It's a win-win because obviously you get the full money up front and the client gets access to what they paid for, even if they don't have the money upfront. So everyone wins here. And in my experience, if you use this, then you're going to 3 to 5x your sales instantly. So if you weren't using buy now, pay later and you're making 10K a month, then it's very common that after using, you're going to start making 30K per month. These are some of the companies that offer this, like Klarna, Splitit, Sezzle, PayPal. They offer this. Of course, you will have to apply to each one of them. And some of these are more difficult to access than another. So for example, like Splitit, they usually only work with companies that are doing minimum $30 million every single year in revenue. I want to show you guys this real quick. Splitit is one of those options. And historically, they require you to be making at least $30 million annual revenue in order to use their service. So normally most people can't use it, but I have special access with them. I have connections with executives, top ranking people from each of these companies. So if you come to me, if you DM me and you want to use them, then I can get you special access. The reason is because, and that is only obviously if you work with me one-on-one, which the application is in the link in bio of this video. If you get approved, then I can give you access to that. But obviously that's huge because usually in order to use this, you need to be very high level already, but you can bypass that. But anyways, I hope that this section has made more sense of kind of the numbers that you can expect and also just how buy now, pay later works. But just to give you a quick story. So whenever people work with me, if you choose to work with me, the expectation is that you start making at least 10K per month because what I teach, it works perfect. And every single person who works with me, partners with me, works with me one-on-one, in order to graduate, you need to hit at least 10K per month in sales. And so there's this one guy who was stuck. He was stuck making around 1.5K per week on average, and that amounts to around 6K per month. He was stuck, but then he started using this buy now, pay later, and he more than tripled his sales. So he started making around 4.5K per week. If you do the math, that's around 20K per month at least. Just from that, he was able to graduate from working with me. But yeah, that's how powerful buy now, pay later is. So I'll go into more detail about that later. I expect every single person who works with me to achieve that minimum by the end of 3 months. Yeah, this makes life so much easier if you do this. Right now, I'm not using it for my main offer just because I just already have way too much sales and way too much people coming in. So I don't need to use this. But if you're not like me and you're actually looking to increase and grow your sales like 3x or 5x, you just want to keep growing, then this is a great way to do so. Next, in section 9, I want to show you guys how to get sponsorships on X. I've gotten 5K or 10K per week sponsorships. It's mainly from big AI companies. Big AI companies and also SaaS companies. So, I just listed a few images here, for example. I was hired from some of these companies. They pay me quite a bit. I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this, how to do the same, even if your account is small, how to land sponsorships. Because the reality is that there just aren't that many people as you might expect. You'd be surprised how very little there are creators and people who are genuinely posting, like authentic, genuinely. So it's a lot easier to land these than you might think on X. On Instagram, there's just so many mega influencer, mega celebrities that have millions of views. There's so many of them. So it's very difficult to get sponsorships there, but on X, it's a lot easier than you think because the pool is just so much smaller. This is my experience, as you can see here, 10K per week sponsorships. Of course, that's big. And, you as a beginner, you're probably not going to achieve that big of results. Maybe, for example, starting out with 1 or 3K per week, for example, from sponsorships. But yeah, for me, in my case, they would have me write 3 or 4 tweets. They pay me 10K for that, more than 10K actually, for 3 or 4 tweets. And then, they would also give me a bonus. So if I got, a lot of views, then they would give me, 2 or 3K bonus per post. For example, if all my posts did really well, then, I could double what they pay me per week. So yeah, that's usually how it works. They will ask you what your rate is per tweet. And of course, you want to do bundles, because instead of doing like, for example, 2K for one tweet, you want to say for $10,000, I'll write, this many tweets or something, for example. So you want to do these big bundles instead of one at a time. This was with my account with less than 30,000 views. I've seen many accounts that are only getting like 5 or 10 or 20K views per post. They get sponsorships like this too. And getting that many views is a lot easier than you think, especially once you know the exact strategies and techniques to generate views. So the best way to do this is just by outbound, cold DMing lots of these big companies. So here's a DM strategy. Here's a script. What you want to do is send 30 cold DMs daily, every single day, to big companies on Twitter. That's equivalent of around 900 DMs per month, which is almost $1,000, which is almost 1,000, right? Even if 1% reply, that's 9 companies. If 0.5% say yes, you're working with 4 or 5 companies, that's like tens of thousands of dollars already. You want to focus on companies. So what I want to show you guys is that, even with a tiny acceptance rate, you're still going to make a huge load of money. Don't ask for the money. Don't come off as being desperate. Show them what your audience is like. Show them why the company's core values would fit well together with yours. But yeah, this is the script that I use. You can just, use this. You can take a screenshot and use this. Talk a little bit about your topic and niche and what your stats are for your post. Like on average, how many views do you get per post, your engagement rate, your audience, what percentage of your audience comes from which countries, for example, so your demographics. That's very important. Sometimes if you're very bold, then, you can guarantee performance, but I probably wouldn't recommend that. So you can show them your stats. For example, this is an example, and just do this daily. You can even hire people to do this for you. You can hire your little sister, your little brother, or you can hire a VA from the Philippines, to do this daily. But all you need is just one yes from like 900 DMs sent out in a month to, secure 5K or maybe even 10K in sales. Just take 10-15 minutes to do this. Obviously the order is that first you need to start learning how to get views on X, which again, once you have the technique, it's very easy to do so. And then you can start doing this. Take 10-15 minutes every single day just to DM these people. And the math, the stats, let's go over it. So you're sending out 30 DMs per day. That's approximately 900 per month. If 0.5 say yes, 0.5% of them, which is basically 1 in every 200 people, then you've gotten 4 or 5 yeses, right? 4 or 5 people, 4 or 5 companies that want to work with you. And if each pays you $4,000, then, you're making 16K or 20K from that. So the reason why I'm showing you is because you can message this many Twitter accounts, DM them. And even if just a tiny bit say yes, you're making so much money from sponsorships. These companies have so much money. It's usually companies that are getting hundreds of millions of dollars for each investment round, and they have way too much money to spend. For them, spending like 100K on someone is like, tiny. It's like dust to them. It's so small. So you need to understand that these companies have way too much money. And so don't be shy. Be bold. Be confident. Show them what you have. And then, just wait for their reply. Obviously, the most important thing is to keep these relationships. It's nice to get a sponsorship that pays you like 3 or 5 or 8K once. But what's even better is that they keep paying you every single month, right? What's better, for a company to pay you 8K once, or to keep paying you 8K every single month for like 10 months straight? That's 80K there. Obviously the most important thing is to keep them. So here I'm going to be teaching you guys how to keep those sponsorships, how to do long-term collabs. So one thing is that obviously you need to perform very well. You need to get lots of views, lots of engagement on your tweets. This is obviously non-negotiable. You should be doing at least 30 or 70K to comfortably, do long-term collabs. So just make sure that your stats are good. Second is that you need to hit deadlines. They'll give you tasks. Can you make this post by this, that? They have details of, exactly how to do it. So just make sure that you are very fast and you get things done, well before the deadline. That's very important. Follow the brief. So number 3 is follow the brief. And they'll always give you instructions, basically details of how to make a post. So you need to follow this exactly. Of course, match their company's vibe, match their culture. The tone of the tweets that you write should be somewhere in between your usual ones and, the company's vibe, their culture. So somewhere in between. Usually the companies that you work with are very similar, already, the culture, the tone with their own Twitter presence. Of course, make sure to be very quick with communication. That's very important. And be very professional. Here's a mistake that I made. Don't talk about these relationships in public. Just keep it a secret, don't say anything. Keep whatever conversation, whatever information private, don't take it anywhere with you. Just leave it. So, I was kind of dumb for doing this, but, in my Telegram channel where I have more than 5,000 people, 5,000 followers and subscribers, I basically posted like a lot of my details about some of the private details of just working with these companies and stuff like that. And that basically got my long-term collab revoked. They're paying me quite a bit every single month, but because I did that, I lost that. I probably lost more than 50K from that just because I was dumb. So just keep it professional. Just don't leak info outside, what you talk with those companies. So that's very important. And of course, these companies, the people working there are very smart. They'll find things even if you don't think they will, just to let you know. Okay, so here's the opportunity. You know that I have lots of connections with these sponsorship companies, with big AI companies, with big software companies. I've gotten sponsorships and referrals from a lot of them. So here's the opportunity. I can connect you. I can give you some of these sponsorships. I can give you the exclusive access to my sponsorship network. So I've worked with a lot of big companies before. I can share contacts with the people that are in charge with sponsorships at each of these companies. They can basically secure, thousands or tens of thousands of dollars of sponsorship deals, every week or every month. But here's the catch. This is only available inside of my program where you work with me one-to-one. So if you partner and work with me one-on-one and you join my mentorship, then I will give you exclusive access to this. Direct referrals with these people. That's why a lot of my students and a lot of my partners, even if their accounts are so small, it's so easy to get these sponsorship deals. It's very similar to, getting an investment banking job after college. It's really about who you know. That's most important. It's networking referrals are very, very important to, to getting these. For the longest time, I've been getting hundreds or 500K views on each post. And I never got a sponsorship deal for more than a year, actually. But then, my current students are just beginning out. They're doing nowhere even close to the number of views that I'm doing because they just started out. Even those people are getting sponsored. It's because of this network. Obviously, if that's the case, then you don't need to send cold DMs every single day. You build real connections, right? So oftentimes each of these companies, they can, refer you to even more companies to work with. If you're interested in that, there's a link in the description and bio. Go fill that out. There's an application form. And I'll personally review each one of them. And if you seem like you'd be a good fit, I'll basically give you access. Okay, now I want to teach you guys about sales. Sales calls are obviously optional for this business, but you need to do sales for any business out there. And really what sales is the entire process of converting someone into a buyer. And that can be in many forms. But if you're trying to make money with online business, sales is always necessary, unless if you're doing trading or something. But in this business, obviously people are buying from you. So even if it's not necessarily a sales call, you still do need to be good at sales. Most likely, that's just going to be figuring out how to set up the checkout link very good. That itself is sales. The art of putting together pages so that people will buy from you. This is what I'll be going over here. This is not optional. So there's two ways of sales in this business. One is sales calls, but that's only if you're selling something for more than $2,000. So as a beginner yourself, you're not going to do this. You're going to do this checkout link as a beginner, which basically means that someone is going to go to a link to buy instead of you having to hop on a call with them to buy. Okay, so for example, the checkout link, it will be a website and there will be a description of what the product is about. And you can see the image of the product. And everything in the website is designed to try to convince the person to buy. Just to be transparent with you guys, I do close more than 100K in sales every single month with an 80% close rate. So I'm very, very good at sales calls. I'm also very good at just general sales in terms of checkout links. I do more than 300K every single month through this method. So, you can see here, this is an example. This is me. Well, this is a picture, but it was originally a video of me, closing. This was a 20K sales call in my basically office in Osaka in Japan. But, this is basically where I am explaining a concept to a lead and closing the sale successfully, capturing the 20K sale. So I do less than 30 calls per month, but I do close more than 80% of them. So these are, for example, my calendar looks like maybe 2-hour interval daily. There's some calls lined up. But I'm very experienced closing big sales, 80K sales. But of course, you as a beginner, you're probably just gonna do a traditional checkout link, and you're probably going to be selling things for under $2,000. So for example, $100 or $500 or $800, that's what you're going to be starting off with. And then once you get more experience with that, once you get hundreds of those sales, you can start maybe experimenting with sales calls. And honestly, I would recommend hiring someone to do this for you. But yeah, the same sales concept still applies, because your copywriting, your words, you need to be able to put them together in a way that convinces the leads to buy. Your copy is your closer, really. If your description, if your writing is confusing, that's going to cause you to lose the buyer. They're not going to buy from you. They're going to exit the tab. They're just going to go on with the rest of their day. You need to be very concise, very clear, understandable in your landing page in order to be able to sell. Of course, if someone doesn't understand very quickly exactly what you're selling, then they're not going to buy. I hope this is obvious, but if someone doesn't understand what you're selling, they're not going to buy, period. And it's very important for them to be able to understand very quickly. You're going to get so much more sales if the audience can understand it in 3 seconds versus if it takes 15 seconds to understand. So again, my credentials, very good, multi 6 figures per month with these sales tactics. And as you can see, these monthly sales, more than 560K sales from July 1st to August 1st. This is just, basically a screenshot that I took from my sales dashboard on Stripe. But you can see, so really what sales is the activity used to sell goods or services in exchange for money. This can come in multiple formats: sales calls, copywriting, landing pages, ads, marketing, emails, DMs, really anytime you're trying to convince someone to send you money. And the most important thing that people often overlook is that you need to understand what you're selling very, very specifically, confidently. And you need to know the inside and out of what you're selling. They should be able to throw any question at you, and you should be able to answer very confidently. If you're not confident, the people are not going to buy from you. They can sense it very well. They're a lot smarter than you think. They can sense it, just by intuition, by their gut, whether you're confident, whether you're actually, genuine behind it, whether you're actually authentic. Obviously, be fully transparent, confident about your offer. Know that it actually gets results for your clients, that it actually benefits the clients. Please don't sell something that you yourself would not buy, right? It needs to be something that you would actually be proud of to put your reputation on. And obviously, I probably don't have to mention this at all, but don't ever sell scams. Don't deceive people. You're only going to have problems in the long term. All your money is just going to disappear. You're going to have to refund or dispute, deal with that, or potentially even lawsuits if you are really doing some bad things. Just make sure that you're selling something that is actually high quality. And the thing is that whenever I start teaching people how to do this business, I always recommend doing affiliate, which basically means that you're going to start selling someone else's product and doing a profit split. So maybe, for example, like you start selling someone else's product and he's selling for $800 a course on e-commerce, and for every sale you get 50% of it. And the nice thing about that is that you can start getting sales from day one, from today. Versus if you create your own product, that might take weeks, that might take 3 or 5 weeks. It's going to postpone your first sale by so much time. And also it's just a much bigger learning curve. So that's why I recommend doing affiliate. For beginners that are trying to hit their first 10K or 20K sales per month, this is what I recommend. Starting off with affiliate is the easiest path to get your first 10K in sales, which isn't that hard at all as long as you're patient. After you start making 30 or 50K per month, then you can start creating your own offer, spending a lot of time on that. And obviously you'll have the skill sets and confidence to be able to sell your own product. So yeah, once again, don't sell stuff that isn't high quality that you personally would not buy from. Make sure that you under promise and over deliver. That's a typo right there. Under promise and over deliver so that your clients will be very happy and they'll continue to buy from you in the future. You create long-term customers. And the beautiful thing is that when you actually really help your clients and you help them to succeed, they themselves will do the marketing for you. So maybe, for example, before it took you 30 hours to do the marketing and posting to generate 20K per month in sales. But then now the quality of your product is so good that the clients themselves bring them in for you with zero additional effort or work or hours put in on your end, right? So that's why when you have a great quality offer, sales exponentially grows. And that is obviously precisely why I have so many people who want to work with me. If you look at my application form, so obviously if you do this, then clients, they will stick with you for a very long time and they'll bring so many people. Obviously, there will be people here and there that do leave negative reviews, but you have to also know that there will be a lot of clients that buy resources from you, but they expect to succeed or for it to work without even them putting in the work in the first place. So this does happen sometimes. Like, for example, if you buy a course from someone and you actually don't put in the work, then how can you succeed, right? And, these people do leave negative reviews, but if that happens with you, just don't pay attention. Just don't treat it that seriously. You can just move on and neglect. But the important thing with clients, if you have, so once you start posting and you start generating leads and clients, you want to be completely honest and upfront, complete transparent about what they're going to get. Add disclaimers so that expectations are clear. And it's important to show the pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages of working with your product. And honestly, in 2026, authenticity has never been more important. That's why, doing this will get you more sales. A lot of people might be like, if you're trying to market and sell, you want to basically show all the good parts, but kind of hide the bad parts. But honestly, in 2026, I would argue against that and say that you want to be completely transparent. And honestly, this is why, I sell something that's so high quality, right? And that's why there's so many people who want to work with me one-on-one. There's just too many people. I cannot let everyone in. In sales, it's very important that you're very concise, understandable for the buyer to understand things very quickly. So if it's very clear, concise, and they understand in 5 seconds, obviously that's very good, they buy. But if they take a few minutes and they still don't understand, it's very confusing, then they're not going to buy. Here's an example I want to show you. If you have this kind of writing, people are going to understand. It's very clear. It's very concise. It's very quick. And people are going to be very interested and they're going to buy. But if you have something like this, it's very wordy. It's very confusing. It takes a long time to try to understand and still doesn't make any sense. So if you write something like this, people are just going to leave. They're not going to buy. That's an example. Copywriting is so important. This is sales itself. You want to basically have the audience to understand as quickly as possible. If you hop on the sales calls yourself, which of course, again, you're probably not going to in the beginning, but if you do, here's some tips. You should let the lead do most of the talking. Have them do the talking and explain their context, their situation. You listen, you genuinely care about. You should ask questions. A lot of people in sales calls, they'll try to pitch over and over, buy my thing, this is why I should buy it, and stuff like that, but that never works. What you should do is to always just care and try to understand the customer. And basically what you want to do is figure out what they're lacking. And in your mind, of course, you're going to understand what the solution is. And that will allow you to close sales better than anyone else. And honestly, if people don't buy, it's not your fault. Don't take it personally. Just understand that maybe it just wasn't the right fit, the right time. And so that's completely natural. So the attitude that you should have when you're trying to sell something is lay out everything understandably and very clearly, very transparently and honestly. And if they don't buy, just realize that it wasn't the right fit. Maybe the solution that you have is not the solution that they need. Again, sales calls is only if you're selling something for more than $2,000 or $3,000. The reason is because if you're selling something for a very expensive price, then they're going to want to talk to someone and make sure that there's actually a real, genuine person who cares behind the screen. But obviously, if you're selling something for a low ticket, for maybe $200, that's not as necessary. So you can just sell straight through the checkout link. So yeah, that's that. And honestly, just to be completely transparent and vulnerable with you guys, if you think that you suck at sales, then know that I was once a person who could barely speak English. English was my second language. Japanese was my first, but I could barely speak English in middle school. And I was constantly the worst guy in English in reading, writing in high school. It was genuinely so embarrassing. We would be reading some passages and I would stutter and, have more trouble than anyone else reading things. And I would not be able to understand the passages like other people. I also could not articulate my thoughts, meaning that if I was trying to say something, then I could not form the words to come out of my mouth. So this was my circumstance. And the only reason why I started being able to close more than $500,000 in sales every single month is because I practiced so much. Practicing, just like any sport. If you played a sport before, you remember the first ever date you started. You were so bad, worse than anyone else. But then think of when you continued for years, how good you became. So it's the exact same thing. Practice makes perfect. And if someone like me who could not speak English is now being able to convince people to buy and make $500,000 every single month, then surely someone like you would be able to as well. So I just wanted to give you guys some encouragement. If you think that you are not fit to do this, just challenge yourself, practice, and you'll become very good at it. Also, another thing to note is that you are the authority. Again, you have to be confident. You're the guide, and if you have any hesitation points, then the leads are going to sense that, and they're not going to want to buy from someone who's not confident. It's similar to dating. If the man is not confident, then that is a massive turn-off. It's the same exact thing in sales. And once again, don't take it so personally, the results. If they don't buy from you, then it probably wasn't a match or a good fit for them. Another important part about sales is upsells. So whenever someone buys from you and they really enjoy the product, they really enjoy it, then they might want to buy something else from you. If someone buys, for example, a $50 ebook and they really enjoyed it so much that they want the next thing, they want the course for $500, so they buy that. And maybe that is so good and that gets them results, right? It's so good and they want even more, so they might purchase. So maybe they didn't have the money to afford $3,000 consulting, but now they do because they got results and they buy that, for example. So upsells are very, very important. Again, upsells happen when you underpromise, and overdeliver. And that is what makes clients happy. If they have a low expectation, but then reality is much higher than the expectation, they're going to be very happy. They're going to love you and they're going to buy from you again. Here is basically a dashboard, Google spreadsheet dashboard of some of the strongest upsells I've ever seen working with a Twitter account. So as you can see, I was selling a $997 course. And you can see we were selling some other things. We were selling a coaching program for $5K and a done-for-you tweet writing service for $3K. 127 people bought these courses. So that's around $126K in sales. And the upsell rate was a shocking 47%, meaning that 47% of the people who bought the course ended up buying something else as well. You can see how much money we made from the coaching program and from the done for you tweet. As a disclaimer, this is not my main Twitter account. This is another account that, I'm not revealing in this video, but it's a very well-known person on Twitter. I basically created all his funnel, his systems, his products, and helped him with all of this upsells, helped him with the whole sales process. So you can see, this is shockingly high. 500K, how much? Since May 28. So I think it's been approximately 3 months or less. And we made 500K in revenue. Obviously, this is not all my profits because I did a profit split with the owner of this account. But, I did walk away with quite a bit. Upsell rate, 47%. If you've been in this industry, I guarantee that you have never seen a number this high. But the reason why it's so high is because of the principle from earlier. Because we underpromised and over-delivered. So we basically made every buyer underestimate by a huge margin what they were going to get and the results that they were going to get as well. Of course, we did have to make some refunds here and there, and that's just because of the integrity of this offer. Of course, some people might buy, but then, maybe they don't have the time as expected. So, refunds. But, I want to be honest with you and tell you that before, my upsell rate was nearly 0% because the system and funnel, it was non-existent. It really sucked. And we were not over delivering for our customers. This does not come lightly. For the first few days, I was spending 7 hours every day fulfilling the order for this offer. And as you guys know, I'm running multiple different businesses. And with this business, I'm running more than 50 accounts. So you can see that just for this account, I was spending more than 7 hours a day. It's quite a lot when I already have more than a full-time, work schedule. And I was barely sleeping. That's what it takes to really deliver for your clients. You need to really care and love for your clients. And in order to get an upsell rate so high, basically, 127 people bought the course, right? And then 60 of them were just so happy that they ended up buying something else as well. They either ended up buying the coaching program or the service. But this was just to show you that upsells work great. And it's a significant part of sales that you should generally know, that you should take advantage of. So that was my quick, very compressed, that was my crash course on sales. I hope you were able to learn a little bit there. It's very interesting how it works on X. Section 11, I want to teach you guys about lead magnets and Typeform. This is optional. You don't need to do this for this business, but as you start to become advanced and as you start to sell more high ticket stuff, then this is important to know. Okay, so here you can see, this is an example of my Typeform application. So 1,800 people have applied to work with me one-on-one for my coaching. And unfortunately, I only accept like 5 people per month. But you can see 10,000 people saw it, 1,000 people, 1,800 people actually submitted, and the time it took to complete. Honestly, it's very short. It normally takes like 30 seconds, but I think there were a few outliers of people who probably had their desktop open for like 10 hours while they slept. So that probably very much skewed the time to like 6 minutes, but normally it takes like 20, 30 seconds to finish. But yeah, so the reason why they're important, let me explain. Lead magnets and Typeform. So lead magnets, it's important to use this if you're doing a high ticket, meaning that if you're selling something for more than $2,000. If you're not, then this is not necessary. But the reason is because people are not going to buy $2,000 something immediately. They don't have enough trust to buy that. So the lead magnet is a way to gain more trust and credibility, to give out more information, value, and to basically ease people into buying something that is this kind of price. Again, if you send someone straight to a $3,000 checkout link, they're not going to buy because there's not enough trust or understanding. A Typeform, the reason why you use this is so that you can gather data about your audience and your leads. You can also figure out the seriousness of each person. You can kind of figure out their character, their work habits. Are they the right fit? Do you think that they're going to become good clients that actually get results? And so this is a way that you can qualify or disqualify people. Essentially, it's a way to get to know your clients and leads a lot more better. Okay, so the funnel goes like following. So you're going to make posts on X that gets lots of views. And then you're going to have Tweet Hunter that automatically sends them a free lead magnet. That can be like, for example, a free ebook, a free 50-page ebook that you're going to send through Tweet Hunter. The lead magnet is the ebook, for example. And then in the lead magnet, there's a call to action, maybe apply to this Typeform. And then so people are going to input their responses, and then you can automatically qualify or disqualify them based off of their answers. And if they're qualified, you can automatically redirect them to book a call with you or to buy. Or if they're not disqualified, you can lead them somewhere else, like for example, your Discord or your Telegram or something like that. But the lead magnet in Typeform essentially is a great way to gain trust and to let in the right people to buy your stuff. The thing that I've come to realize as I've matured is that I don't want to make money from everyone. I only want to sell to people who would actually benefit from buying my stuff. If someone would buy my stuff and they're not going to see the benefits, and of course I can see patterns in these kinds of people, I'm not going to want to sell to these people because regardless, they're probably going to leave bad reviews. So if you're wondering what to include in your lead magnets here, free ebooks, or it can really be any value of digital format. So you can educate people, give strategies, give case studies, give step-by-step instructions and stuff like that. You can include all that in your lead magnets. And you want to build them strategically. The lead magnet should only be a teaser. It's similar to giving them one piece of a potato chip just to get the taste of it. But in order to get the rest of the bag of chips, they're going to need to buy from you. So that's the analogy there. You want to give them a teaser a little bit so that they can understand the real value. If you've gone to like Costco or Sam's Club, you've seen these, or just any grocery store, you've probably seen people giving out samples. And the reason why it works is because if you understand the taste and you like it, then you're going to buy. Then the chance of you buying the whole bag is going to be very high. So it's the same idea here, except for whatever digital product you're selling. If your free lead magnet is just so interesting, so valuable, your audience is going to be like, wow, if this is packed, then surely if I buy the digital product, I'm going to get so much more. What's funny is that I used to be that kid that would grab like 5 samples from each station, and I would become so full. If there, for example, there could be a small station giving out small strawberry popsicles, and I would come back in like 5-minute interval. I would take 2 cups every 5-minute interval. I remember I ate so much that I actually became so sick, and I had to miss my play date that I had with my friends afterwards because I went back home. I was nauseous. But you get my idea. You want to give out just free lead magnet, just teasers that are just so good that they instinctively want a lot more. For example, if you're trying to sell digital product on email marketing, then in your lead magnet, you might talk about the big picture, the results, how it works, the basics. You'll educate them, but still gatekeep on the important stuff. And they would look at this and be so curious. They want to know what you're gatekeeping, especially if you have very interesting methods and results. You're gatekeeping the sauce. Then people are going to want to buy. So they click on the link. Either they're going to click on the link to book a call, or it's going to take them to a checkout link to buy something, right? So yeah, that's the basics of how to structure this. I hope that makes sense. Another thing is about emails. Emails are very important, as I told you earlier. So whenever you're giving out a lead magnet, you can basically have people to opt in to submit their email in order to receive the lead magnet. And it's a good trade, and you've probably done that quite a lot. For each email that comes in, you want to do a 5 to 7 day email sequence. So meaning that you're going to send one email every single day for 5 or 7 days. So this is what it might look like. Day 1, welcome, introduce yourself, maybe a bit of story, post case studies, teach them about things. And this is to really give value, just to give to your audience without expecting much in return. And when you do that, people will start to trust you and they'll start to like you a lot. And then in the last 2 days, you want to have a hard CTA. Buy this whatever thing, or book a call, for example. And this works very well. It slowly and gradually makes your customers, your leads, more interested and more likely to buy from you. As you can see here, what I just mentioned. Currently, I have more than, this is an error, it should be 230,000 subscribers, more than that I'm working with. So I have quite some experience working in emails. So it's very important to use this, especially as you start getting more and more experienced and trying to optimize sales better. Of course, when you're first starting, this is not something to do, but later on. So I use Kit. As you can see here, Kit is great for sending emails. And you can see this is from one account, 91 subscribed people. Emails. And you can see how many emails have been sent in the last 90 days, what percent of people actually open the emails, and what percent of people actually click on the link inside the emails here. Note the very small number just because I have paused this email campaign in this screenshot. And the reason is because we're just having too many people who are trying to buy, and we just cannot work with those people. And we just are completely full. So there's no point in doing email. So that's why we paused a little bit this month, hence a very low amount. But anyways, I just wanted to show you what it looks like on my end. Another big thing, I think this is pretty obvious, but don't send any unsolicited messages. Let me share with you a little embarrassing story. So around 3 years ago, when I was first starting out online business, I was so desperate to make money and I was completely broke at the time. So what I did was I went to Google and I was scraping like tens of thousands of emails every single day, just people's Gmails, random people's Gmails. And I would put them into MailChimp and send and spam send, trying to market my software. And the thing is that I got permanently banned from MailChimp. I tried creating new accounts from new devices or new IPs, but I don't know how, but I never was able to get it back. So this is obviously very immature now that I look back at that Now, I realize that this is obviously very silly and immature, what happened 2, 3 years ago. But so, yeah, just make sure that your emails are solicited, that you're not spamming people, that they actually opted in, because that is very, very important. Please don't get permanently banned from any of these sites. It's not worth it. So, yeah, that wraps up section 11, the second to last part. So if you have made it this far, I congratulate you, because probably less than 1% of all the people who have watched this video have made it this far. And honestly, this final section 12 is the most important. I know that in YouTube videos, this is the part where it turns into a pitch. Like, okay, so here's what I'm selling. I want to make sure that for me, I'm looking for really partners to work with. And I'm going to be completely honest about everything, about what it looks like, the pros and cons. I'm going to be honest about the disadvantages as well, my weaknesses, and just I'm going to show you transparently and holistically what it looks like. So let's begin. If you work with me one-on-one, of course, there's a lot of people who apply to work with me, and I can only select a very few number of individuals. And that's where you can think of it as like I'm your brother, and we're in one place, and I'm going to hold your hand and make sure that you become successful. This is where I'm available every single day to help you out. Of course, this isn't pre-recorded course or like a traditional coaching, but really me and you, we work daily together through calls and text messaging. And it's not just me, but how I have helped many other people to become very successful, to get up to 30, 50K, and some even 100K sales per month. Some of those people have willingly become coaches as well. So it won't just be me helping you, but people that I've helped previously in the past and they become successful, they will also be co-coaches and they'll be helping you as well. So imagine this. So I want you to imagine this. If you close your eyes, imagine you have 5 different X accounts. Each one is automated. Each one is making tweets while you sleep. Throughout the day, it's making tweets and it's generating views. It's getting 100,000 views per day organically across all accounts. You're getting 500 or 700 comments, for example, every day. Let's say a very small, tiny percentage of those people end up buying a digital product from you. Maybe 3 or 10 of them end up buying from you daily, which is less than 1% of the people who comment, less than 0.05% of the people who viewed your post. And you're getting 3 to 5 sales of, let's say, $500 each daily. This is what I do across many different accounts. I would grow an account from 0 to earning 30 or 50K per month, right? And then I would automate it so that it's running by itself and I don't have to do anything. And then I would create another account, maybe in a different category. So maybe this one was in e-com, another new one is in trading. And I'll do the exact same thing. And I'll teach you how exactly it works. And a lot of the people that I've worked with, I've helped get up to 10, 30, 100K per month in profits. So here's my offer to you. What's included is you get daily access to me and also the other co-coaches that are making lots of money every month, and daily text messages. So if you send a question or need any help, we'll get back to you very fast. Of course, not immediately all the time, but within a few hours at max. Sometimes obviously, right, I travel between Japan and LA, California. So sometimes I may be asleep, but then when I'm asleep, but during that, the other coaches will be awake and be able to help you. And if you schedule calls in advance, we're here to hop on a call frequently with you just to go over any troubles that you might have, give you feedback, and make sure that you're on progress, on track to be hitting your goal, whatever your goal is in 3 months from now, whether that's making 10K, 20K, or maybe even 30K per month. We'll teach you the techniques of how to create posts that get lots of views. You probably tried creating posts on Twitter and they don't get any views. And the reason is because you don't know the exact technique, the exact way to create the first hook, the first line, the body, the styles, the formats, the templates. You don't have that, but we'll give it to you. And that will enable you to start getting lots of views. Consistently 5 or sometimes 6-figure views per post. And of course, the most important thing isn't the number of views, but rather the quality of the views. I have many Twitter accounts that are only getting like 1,000 views per post, but it's so targeted. There's a huge concentration of very high level people that were making more dollars than the number of views that we're getting. For example, a post that got 2,000 views made $6,500 dollars in sales. So that's very common to get more dollars in sales than the number of views from that post. So we'll teach you how to target a very serious audience. And then once you have that established, to grow the number of views you get, you will be added to a community, a private group chat, a community of more than 70 people that I have helped over the past 2 years or so. Many of them are doing 30, 50K or more in sales per month. So you can talk with them, collaborate with them. It's meant to be a place that will push you to succeed. People in there are very friendly. And if you think about it, you are the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with successful people who've already done it before, then you have a very good chance of becoming successful. And then you'll also, inside the community, you also get more than 50 course modules. So all the information, all the knowledge and wisdom that I know about this business, I condensed into these course modules. So you can go through and basically absorb, basically download the clone of the brain that I have for this business. Once the account is getting lots of sales, I'll teach you how to automate it so that you don't have to be at your computer all day, so that your posts can be made automatically, so that you can be generating views and leads automatically, so that they'll go down your funnel automatically and you'll get sales automatically. And the fulfillment will be automated as well. So you can think of it as, in the beginning, it takes a lot of time to create the engine. It is going to take a lot of hard work to create it. But once it's built, it can run by itself without you being there with it. So that engine is this business. So this business is that engine, if that makes sense. I'll give you case studies of many of my accounts that are doing multi 5 figures per month. And so you might be asking, what's the catch, right? So the reason why I'm doing this is because my time, my energy, my focus is limited. I have a lot of Twitter accounts, but it just takes but I'm at a point where I just don't want to create more and more accounts. Instead, what I can do is gather some really, really talented, hardworking people who have more energy and more ambition than me. And basically, I'll teach you everything you need to know about becoming successful with this business. I already have resources that you can use, and then you'll start getting lots of views and sales. But the catch is that there's going to be a profit split, meaning that I'm going to take a certain percentage of all your profits for 12 months. So for example, it might be 20%. For example, if you make 30K per month, I take 6K, you keep 24K. If you make 100K per month, I take 20K, you keep the rest of 80K. And as you see, this is a win-win scenario because I'm going to teach you and give you the resources to become successful with this business. But in return, I'm going to take a profit split as well. So the more you win, the more you succeed, the more money you make, the better it is for me. Our incentives are aligned. This is not a course or like a coaching where you pay the seller like an insane price and then you never hear from the coach or they don't really care too much about you. It's not like that. But rather, I'm here for the profit split, meaning that if I spend my time, focus, energy helping you and you don't succeed, then that would have been a waste of my efforts. And I only start to benefit greatly when you succeed, right? And honestly, and if you note this profit split, this is exactly how I make most of my money, which is helping a lot of these people start from zero and become very successful. And I take a profit split from each one of them. And that's why I'm making a significant amount every single month, as you can see here, right? So this is all from this that I'm working with. In order for you to succeed, there's this mentality of by any means necessary, which means that I'm not going to gatekeep anything. I'm not going to hide anything from you. So if you're accepted, basically here are the first steps of beginning. First, you will go through the course modules to gain an understanding of how the business works. Number 2 is that we start creating posts together. We create tweets together and we begin posting them. 3 is that we choose a product. We're most likely going to do affiliate, which is selling someone else's products. Choosing that, I will give you the top recommendations. Right now, for example, there are a few industries and topics that are trending, that are popular, that are selling very, very well and have very high conversion rate. So I will reveal to them what those topics are, what those niches are. And then in each one, I will give you 3 or 4 recommendations, best top recommendations based off of what is selling the best, what is easiest to sell the best, what is the quickest with the highest conversion. So I will give you a few options of products to sell, and then you go through them, each one, and then you choose which one you like the best, and we'll start selling that. You'll start getting your first sales, maybe $50, maybe $500, $800. and keep improving and scaling every single part of this business. Over time, you'll create better tweets that get more views, that are better for credibility, improve your funnel and systems over time, improve your sales, improve your fulfillment, improve your products. Literally gradually improve every single aspect of this business every single week. And you'll continue to get more sales, more sales, more sales every single week. I'm not going to go over all the course modules, but you can see, take a look here at what each of those are. And I've had this for a long time, this high income rewards program, where if you make 10K per month, which you will if you work with me, as long as obviously you're putting in the work and you're following the steps, then you will come to celebrate with me. I will literally buy you a flight ticket, fly you out either to LA or to Japan, whichever one you want. And then I will let you pick one supercar to drive, Ferrari or Lamborghini, Rolls Royce, whatever you like. And then we'll have dinner at the tallest restaurant in the city. For example, this is Los Angeles. You can see these are my students. They each hit minimum 10K per month. This is the tallest restaurant in all of the West Coast in California. You can see very, very tall. That's me right here. My face is a little photoshopped, as you can see, just to be honest. So it looks kind of weird, but these are my students here. This is the drinks that we had, the views is absolutely stunning. And then, of course, this time I had lots of people. And 4 people, I needed the SUV. This can seat 5 people. The normal like Lamborghini Huracan Aventador can only seat 2 people. So this time I had 4, so I had to get the big car. But yeah, it's very, very fun each time. You can see here we have Red Bull because everyone loves Red Bull for some reason. So buying Red Bull for the team, for my students and friends. This is us getting gas at the gas station in LA. So yeah, so I have 2 options. So if you want to work with me, there's 2 options. So option 1 is done with you. So it's basically like you're working with me one-on-one, and I'm going to guide you and coach you. Of course, there will be other coaches as well because my students became successful. They will be helping you also. And we will be helping you every single day for 3 months straight. And communication, text, calls, and stuff like that. It says 10 spots here, but recently I've been doing 5 spots. But anyways, it's like consulting. You're going to have to pay mid 4-figure investment upfront to join this. So just as a disclaimer, it's not just profit split. There is an upfront fee as well. You're going to have to pay mid 4 figures, but you get access to everything. It's similar to you're the Olympic athlete and I'm the Olympic coach. It's going to be intense, high level coaching, but the reason why it's high level is because your percentage of succeeding to be very, very high. And that's why I only accept very few people. Option 2 is done for you. So it's basically the same thing as done with you, except more premium. It's more VIP. So you get everything in the done with you. Plus, our team does a lot of the work for you. So we will also create the posts for you, create the products or choose the products for you. We'll set up the systems and funnels for you. We will get lots of views for you, hundreds of thousands of views or millions of views for you. So here it's coaching and you do the work, but here we will be doing most of the work for you. And for this is a low 5-figure upfront investment. For this, every single day, we're going to explain to you everything that we did, all the smallest details, updates, what work has been done. And we will also explain to you the reasoning for each and everything so that you can build an understanding of how the business works. Every single day, you're going to be looking over our shoulder. So you will be watching us putting in the work and you will begin to understand how it works. And by the end of 3 months, you will completely understand so much that you will be able to do it independently by yourself. After 3 months, you should not need our help because you should understand everything. So I want to be transparent also about miscellaneous fees. So softwares and stuff like that. So besides the upfront fee for the done with you and done for you, there is a $30 per month Tweet Hunter software subscription. And also you're going to be paying $8 per month for Twitter Premium for the blue check mark. You need the blue check mark because without it, it's difficult to get lots of views. So combined for tools, you're going to be paying $38 per month, which is a lot lower than other businesses. But just to keep that in mind, I just wanted to be clear about that. But this is the exact programs, the offers that took my clients from 0 to 20, 30, 50K, or even 100K per month, as you can see here. The exact same program. So if you're interested, you can fill out this QR code, or you can go to the link in the description of this YouTube video. Go to the bio, click on this link, and then fill out the Typeform application. For step 1, you must click on this and fill out the application to the very end and submit. Step 2, if you are qualified, you'll be able to book a call with me. It won't be a closer. It will be me. And the reason is because I personally want to get to know you. It's very, in business, for relationships, it's very important to have full transparency and honesty and to be on the same page as you. And of course, I want to understand the person that I'll be working with. That's why I'll be hopping on the call myself. And also, of course, I enjoy actually hopping on the calls and talking with you guys. So that's step 2. Step 3, this is optional, but if you have finished that, then yeah, please send me a message on Telegram here. I want to mention now the guarantees that I have. So if you work with me one-on-one, the first guarantee is that you'll make at least $10,000 in sales in 3 months, or else you get your full money back. I'm very confident that my system works every single time. As long as you're putting in the work and following the steps, you should make it work. My minimum expectation for you is to make at least 10K in 3 months. There are many people that achieve it a lot quicker. Maybe in 2 months, they hit 15K, for example. But this is the minimum expectation that I have. Of course, if you're not putting in the work, then you will never succeed. And please don't expect this to work. My guarantee number 2 is that you'll get minimum at least 1 million views in your first month of working with me. I'm very confident and it works every single time. But keep in mind that I will be sending you an agreement, a document. So for all the full details, please look through that. And of course, some of these are subject to change over time, over months. So just look through that and make sure that the information looks good. Now it's time for me to be fully transparent about everything. Not just the wins and the positives, but to show you the disadvantages of working with me and my weaknesses and my failures. Because I want to be completely transparent and give you a holistic picture that is unbiased. So number 1, I'm going to be completely honest. Most people fail and don't succeed. And the reason is because most people cannot work hard for a long time. Of course, everyone is very excited and working hard first week, very motivated. But then 4 to 6 weeks later, they lose the motivation, they lose the excitement, and they stop working. Those people will never succeed. Most people are like that. Most people are very lazy. So if you're like that, then please do not apply. You must put in hard work. If it was easy, then everyone would be rich and successful. But it's not. You must put in at least 10 hours of work per week, every single week, for 3 months without any exceptions. And then if you do that and you follow the instructions, then your chance is very high of succeeding. Number 2, I want to be fully transparent about my availability. I'm very busy. I'm also in Japan, so my time zone is a little different. So please don't expect my responses to be immediate and for me to reply to you any time of the day. I spend a few hours every single day helping you guys, but I'm not available the entire day. That is why I hired some of my students to become coaches so that they will help you when I'm not available. Number 2, this is a very high level program. It's similar to like Olympic level, but the reason is because high level work means high level results. If you cannot work very hard at a high level, then please do not join this. Of course, experience level doesn't matter too much. Of course it does, but not too much. But what's most important is really your consistency and your commitment, your dedication. And number 3 is that once we begin, I'm going to go 100%. If you're uncertain or you don't have 100% energy, then please don't apply to this. Number 4 is that I just cannot work with everyone. These are the people that I cannot work with. If you seem immature or you don't have the work ethic, then that is disqualification. If you don't have any money to support yourself, like food or rent, then you are disqualified as well. If you cannot listen to feedback, then you're disqualified. If you need too much from us, if you expect us to be available every second of the day, then you're disqualified. If what you're selling crosses a line, like it's scamming, then you're disqualified as well. If you expect it to be easy and quick, you're also disqualified. But if you seem like the right fit and there are spots available, then I'm willing to have my full arms open to treat you like family. Because honestly, when I was first starting out, I was completely alone. It was a lot of darkness and hopelessness for me because I was spending so much time. I was spending 15 hours every single day for 1 year and I could not make any progress. That was a very depressing time of my life and I wish there was someone there for me to help me. So this is my way of and so really this is a way for me to be here for you. I want to show you something very cool. So this is my student. He joined a year ago and then he started making 100K per month by himself. from this business. And the funny thing is that he can live in any country. So he lived in Bangkok for 3 years, and then he was in UK. I'm in Japan, and I tell him to come to Japan. He was in the UK, but he comes to Japan the same day. Within 24 hours of me telling him to come, he books his flight and actually flies over here. And to celebrate, we got matching supercars. So that's his Lamborghini white, of course, rental. This is my white McLaren 720. This is Kyoto exploring together. This is the same picture as earlier, but that's him. And amazing food, Michelin starred food all the time. And this is our office that we have in Osaka. So we're working there. But relationship to me is most important because the money that you make comes and goes. But if I can help people and to develop really cool relationships like this, and it's a lot of fun, it's so beautiful, and I really cherish these kinds of relationships. That may have sounded a little corny, but I actually do mean it, even if it might not seem like I am. If I can get even more people like this, let's say in 1 year from now, if I can have 20 or 30 or 40 people, together, and we each have our fleets, we have like a giant army going on down the street with these supercars. It doesn't necessarily need to be supercars, but my goal is to have a really big army. To be completely honest, I don't have many friends, so this is a great way for me to create these kinds of friendships as well. So let me move on to the next section, the video game analogy, because really this business is very similar to a game. Life is really similar to a game, actually. In the very beginning, you are at zero. You don't know anything. You don't have any skills. You're just starting out, right? Whether it's in business or anything, you start for the very first time at some point in your life. For me, I have already made millions of dollars. So I have already gone through this entire process and beat the video game multiple times already. So I finished a very long time ago. But for you, obviously, you're starting out. Just like how I was 2 or 3 years ago. So you're a complete beginner, and you're going to go through a lot of trials. You're going to put in a lot of practice. You're going to put in a lot of hours going through this game or going through this business. It's going to be difficult. You're going to have troubles. You're going to fail, but you're going to keep trying despite these difficulties. And obviously, business is very difficult. If it wasn't difficult, then everyone would be very wealthy by now. That's also what makes it so rewarding, is that it's very fun. It takes a long time and it's very difficult, but it's very rewarding. This journey is a lot of fun. And eventually, as long as you keep consistently putting in the work for long term, then you will reach the final level, the final stages. And then, so this is level 8. I'm not sure if you've played Mario before, but, in the very beginning, it has a lot of easy levels. And then as you go into higher levels, it gets more and more difficult. So you'll improve your skills, and you'll reach higher levels. Maybe start making 5K, 8K per month. And then, this is the final boss, the final boss. And if you defeat him, you win. You beat the entire game. So basically, that's the same thing as making your first 10K or 50K per month. I have already defeated the final boss, and I've done all of this. But the cool thing is that I will start from zero with you. From day one, from zero, I will be there for you for each of these levels, for every difficult place that you're in, for every circumstance. I will be there together with you. In this case, like swimming with you, and whatever you're stuck on or you have trouble, I will be there to help you, to boost you, and to protect you. Of course, you'll still fail and have difficulties, but I'll make it easier just by giving you the lessons that I learned a long time ago. It's very easy to get lost or confused in this journey, but I will keep showing you where the end goal is, where the direction is, how to get to the next steps, how to keep improving. And of course, we'll reach the final level, we will keep improving and defeat the final boss of 10K per month together. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's why I genuinely enjoy helping you guys so much, is because I get to go through this adventure once again with you guys. I will be completely honest once again, just be completely transparent. Sometimes my weakness is that I am very slow to reply. Sometimes it might take a few hours, or maybe sometimes it might even take a day to reply. But that's part of the reason why this structure is student initiated. So basically meaning that you're going to be putting in the work, and then we give you feedback and directions. Basically, you can think of it, it's similar to like an Olympic athlete and Olympic coach, right? So of course, we will help you every single day, but that's only if you show up to practice, if you only show up to work every single day. So that's the condition. And of course, my other students who became very successful, now they're coaches, such as Michael, they will be helping you out as well every single day. Even when I'm slow to reply, they will be there for you. These students were making quite a lot every month. They became very successful, and now they became coaches. If you are interested in working with me one-to-one for this coaching program, then go to this link right here. If you go into this YouTube video description, then you will also have the link there. But also you can scan this QR code and see if it'll work. Again, if you are interested in working with me one-to-one for this coaching program, if you would like me to help you to become very successful and of course go through this really fun journey, we will be there every single day to help you through chats and calls. Scan this QR code with your phone, and you will be able to apply to the application form. This is absolutely required. This is necessary if you want to work with me. So this is step one. Then once you're done with this, once you submit, then book a call with me. This is also required if you want to work with me one-on-one. So pick a time, the date that works with you, and set a reminder. Set an alarm on your phone or a reminder. Put it in your calendar so that you don't forget. And in this call, I will give you a 3-month custom game plan for you. So basically, based off of your background and skills and your preferences, I will create for you a custom game plan for you, tailored to your needs, your preferences, if that makes sense. And really, this game plan will show you exactly what you need to be doing every single day, every week, every month, so that you can be on progress to hit at least 10K per month within 3 months from now. So you will understand and know exactly step by step what you should be doing each and every single day, and you can see what kind of progress you should be making week 2, week 3, week 5, etc., etc. So you can see if you are on the right track to be on progress to hit your goal. Okay, so step 1, step 2, they are both required. It is required to book a call with me. And step 3 is optional. So you don't need to do this, but you can send a message to me on Telegram. This is my Telegram link right here. So you can message me, or you can just type in the URL t.me/Alex_Suzu. And you should be able to text me, DM me there as well. You can send me a quick message and please introduce yourself. And I'm always happy to get to know you guys. And also for these 2 offers, if you want more details for each of these, they are also in the description and bio of this YouTube video. So go below the YouTube video and you will see in the description, there is a URL with the details to these offers. So you can click on those. If you have any questions from this YouTube video, feel free, don't hesitate to send a message to me on Telegram. I don't respond on Twitter or anywhere else or any emails usually, but I'm most responsive on Telegram. So if you ask me any questions there, then I will be happy to reply to you. If you have genuinely made it this far into this video, I congratulate you because you were part of the 0.01% of the people who actually made it to the end. Most people don't have the attention span or the patience to watch a video that long, but rather they would scroll on TikTok, brain rot stuff, and they don't have the focus. So if you actually made it, then you're absolutely a legend. If you'd like to stay connected, I also have Instagram account right here. This screenshot is kind of old, but I just post a lot of random stuff, my POV, more personal things on my Instagram. So feel free to go follow. That's my username. I do a lot of stupid stuff. This is Bangkok, Thailand. This is, I think, 30th floor. I'm sitting on the edge and, it's such a nice view. This is me in Tokyo. That's me in Tokyo. That's Los Angeles, penthouse, Lamborghini in Los Angeles. But just a lot of stupid but funny things on my Instagrams. It's crazy because it actually took such a long time for me to create all of this, and also filming and editing all this has been taking such a long time. So I'm so happy that I'm finally done with this. If you enjoyed or if you learned, please comment and also subscribe if you'd like to see more content in the future from me. But yeah, I genuinely appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart, and that's pretty much it for this video. So yeah, I'll see you guys very soon in my later videos. So yeah.